in-laws are here. Usually a lot of meals at places outside your home.
Yep.
And taking us on the sites. She and Kenna went to New York. Usually when I'm not working, I don't want to go back into Manhattan if I don't have to. I've escaped.
I don't blame you a bit.
You know what my favorite thing was when I opened my laptop just now? The last thing I had up was still on it, which was us playing A-Team.
The other night?
I haven't opened my laptop in 7 days. That is amazing.
That
might be a new personal best.
That's strong.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Eric. How's it going, Eric?
I checked on my
making some tech requirements.
52 IOs had to go out yesterday, and they all went out, so we're good.
Oh, good.
Or day before yesterday, so.
Yeah, we punched out our inserts before the 20th when we all sort of banged out.
Well, look who's fancy.
Yeah. That just sounds like some naughty talking going on.
What, the inserts?
The inserts?
And the banging out.
Insertion orders, that is.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy.
And the split runs. And...
Here in the ad game, we have insertion orders.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Hello, guys. How are you?
What's happening, bud?
Hello.
So Don said that he's going to be a couple of minutes late.
Okay. Les, I sent you one more text, too. If you could respond to that one, it'd be great.
Okay.
So, Les.
Make sure I have my part
I did not see
I need you to
officially sanctioned character sheet.
There isn't. That's because there isn't. Or we don't have one yet. I'm going to look around and find one. I didn't have time to.
Is there such a thing?
There could be one that exists. I remember there used to be one, but it was something you put on a piece.
Moving your mouth, but not actually talking.
It's a new video.
I'm talking. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Les.
Okay.
You are fucking with me.
No. Everyone.
Okay, so you're going to move your mouth and not say anything all night. All right, Eric. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Mani Shma.
Can you hear me?
Motherfucker.
It's got to be his audio.
It's got to be Andrew.
Right.
Yeah.
Our GM
Is that Andrew?
can't say anything.
Yeah, we're all good.
So it's...
Maybe somebody text him? Oh, yeah, somebody's on.
It's an insurrection.
Is
it me?
It's you.
You guys are all moving your lips.
Can you hear me?
It must be the peyote he just took.
Ah, shit.
We're in the spirit world. More deep cuts for you.
I can't hear anybody. I'm going to leave and rejoin.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Eric.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
It was Andrew.
Yeah, it was Andrew's stuff.
Just when I thought nothing could make my face look fatter, this hat comes along. Complete submission.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear us now?
What?
Hey, see, you blew it, Les. We should have just moved our mouths and not talked again.
Oh, I'm always the last to know on these things. All right, glad to have you back.
Glad to
be here.
Sorry, I'm getting the map in there. All right. Cool. Well, Don texted me. He says he's going to be about 10 minutes late. So he should be arriving momentarily.
Wasn't there a Don Jr. going to join us as well?
So yeah, I reached out to Beth. She is not able to make it tonight, so she's going to join us at some point.
She was able to find something else to do.
She was able to find something else to do. Yeah.
Not hard to do.
Yeah. Like, wait, I'm going to hang out with my dad's friends.
I know.
Wes, is there an official character sheet? Because it felt like I was.
That's where the audio went kerflooey. So I think there is, but I think it's from 1977, which means it was meant to be printed out.
It was meant to be mimeographed. Actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ditto paper. So, that kind of thing. But
it felt like a treasure hunt.
Let me look around. Let me look around the internet. I'm sure that someone has made something that will work.
Well,
if I find something,
make it shorter the Pathfinder character sheet.
Did you get what you need?
Yeah, from you, yes, I got what I need. I got everybody's.
Okay.
So, and I also put together.
Eric is smirking. I don't like it.
I went ahead and got everybody's.
He's laughing at us. I feel like he's like looking down at us.
What's this us?
Oh, me. He's smirking at me.
He's looking at you, yeah. So here is the icons that I used for the team. As you can see, you guys.
Oh,
So
I like
I
the
didn't have one.
one.
I didn't have one for Eric. So I Googled tough Irishman, and this is what I got back. So I'm using that. But this is you guys, and I cut this down a little bit for you, Andrew. I thought it was a perfect picture.
I like the hand slap. I'm glad you did that
face
one.
palm, Dr. Face Palm.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Don. I thought you were gonna be late, dude.
I am late.
It is
I'm
late.
9
It's
minutes
10
late.
after.
Oh, well, all right, never mind then.
We just kibitzed right to the moment you got here. So perfect timing for us.
All right. Well, now that we are all here,
Are
let's just do a quick review of what happened last time. So last time it was sort of almost like a session zero. Everybody sort of got to know each other. We talked a little bit about our characters. We answered some questions. We did certain, various kinds of things.
Blood rituals.
But mostly it was just more of a get to know. You guys are still at Asensio Station in the Mirabilis system. This fella right here. Now Asensio is around a planet called Adagio, which in itself is fairly barren, which means most of the activity on Adagio is in orbit, essentially. The planet itself is kind of barren. It has a fair amount of mineral wealth, which is why there are people down there, and why the population of Mirabilis system tends to be clustered around Adagio. And Asensio Station is one of the largest orbitals in system. So that's where you guys are docked. The Gin and Tonic is docked there. This is where you guys have met. All of you working or acquainted with in one way or another with Emix, who is sort of your patron slash employer. Now Emix has set up, you guys are all getting together, you're sort of essentially a new crew. And you guys know that what Emix does is basically he puts together medium and long range haulers to take freight from one place to another. Amongst the stars. And he specifically looks for opportunities for medium and long range haulers. Technically, the Gin and Tonic is a medium range hauler. Did we lose you again? We lost Andrew again.
Bye, Andrew.
In the dead of space, no one can hear Andrew scream.
Well, no, we can hear him
No, we
scream.
can hear him.
He just can't hear us scream.
Oh, right. Okay, there you go.
Now I can, but geez.
Oh, okay. I was just sending you a message. Sorry about that. Anyway, so basically what Emix loves to do is he puts together these crews of independent contractors like yourselves, medium and long range haulers, kind of thing. The Gin and Tonic being a jump 4 makes it firmly in the medium to long haul range. And he hires himself out as sort of a business manager slash patron for these crews, procuring them business and taking a piece off the top. Essentially, you guys are at Mirabilis right now, which is sort of on the frontier a little bit, but not totally. You're still within, as you can see here, you're still within the Salamini cluster. You're actually not very far from the sort of the centers of power, which is here. Terra, UV Ceti, which is where Emix is based on UV Ceti, all these areas in here and sort of this big cluster. But you're sort of on the outer, the southern, what we would call the southern edge of the space travel, where you guys are sort of doing all this stuff. So, but basically that's what Emix likes to do. So you guys are a new crew put together on the Gin and Tonic under Captain Black, former Navy man, as he told you last time we played, and you guys are getting ready to get your first job. Now, Emix had sort of set up a potential job for you guys. He'd ranged a load of 50 metric tons of cargo at a guaranteed price of 2 kilocredits per ton, headed for Ishapur, which is a nice jump 4, firmly in your wheelhouse, a week away, to go and bring this stuff there. And this is highlighted in the red line, which is the original thing. However, as you guys are sitting around in this club on Asensio, sort of like talking over business and stuff like that, those of you with Neuralace get a message especially you, Jet. Captain Black, you get a message, and it is from the mind that essentially controls the station of mind called Walk into Light, which runs Ascensio, among other things, for the Spofulum family. So you guys will know that the Spofulum family is the dominant. They are essentially a clan corporation, for lack of a better word. There are that basically runs most of the commercial activity, or a good portion of the commercial activity in Mirabilis system. So they essentially they're the big wheels here, and the mind that runs Ascensio Station, Walk into Light, works with them. But yeah, La Famille Spofulum is somebody. They're sort of part corporation and part family. Not your family. But the mind breaks in and he says, I apologize for the intrusion, but there is an individual at the station who has queried me as to the availability of vessels taking cargo and passengers to Greenport system via Is and Remulac. He has business there. Greenport is here. He's asking for sole passenger occupancy and secure cargo restrictions. And what Walk into Light will say is, look, there are several vessels that are currently in station that can provide those. They're all short haulers. And this individual says time is a concern and would prefer a longer haul vessel. So, and this is because of the way jump drives work, right? So the Gin and Tonic is a jump 4 ship. Basically meaning that for each hyperspace jump that the Gin and Tonic makes, it can travel 4 hexes on a map like the one you're looking at right now. If you have a jump 2 ship, it can only jump 2 hexes. The difference is that every jump takes a standard week, regardless of whether it's 4 hexes or 2 hexes, depending on your ship. If you have a jump 2 ship, you can only go 2 hexes in a week. If you have a jump 4, you can go twice as far, and that cuts down significantly on the amount of time if you take a fix. This is why he's interested in speed. So basically, what Walk into Light is asking you is, would you be interested in talking with this individual?
I let the party know that we've gotten this request in, and that I think we should hear him out.
Yeah, Dirt.
It's a 4-week round trip.
To Greenport, yeah. So I mean, you could do it in 3. So if you look at it this way, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a different color. We're going to go with a pink arrow here. We're going to do this. So if you went through Yiz, that's jump 1. That's not a pink arrow. What the heckity heck? Hold a sec. There we go. All right. So if you went to Yiz, that's jump 4 right there. That's 4 hexes. That's a solid jump. Then if you jump from there to, you can't jump all the way to Greenport. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's a jump 5. You'd have to stop in the middle. So the easiest way would to go from there to Remulac, refuel, and then jump to Greenport. Now, what Weber will tell you is that that blue line going to Dismal is essentially you guys going to see his friend Palmer. So you guys had talked with him a little bit about the possibility of both acquiring both hand weapons and having modifications made to your ship so that you could put weapons on the ship. At which point Matt enacted the I know a guy rule. His friend Palmer from the Diplomatic Corps, who he knows works with the Affront, in a similar sort of procurement business. And Matt, if you want to go into more detail about that, you can.
Yeah, we worked in the Diplomatic Corps together, and we spent a lot of time, we did our day jobs, and we had a little side hustle, just moving some surplus equipment around that various systems had, from garrisons and whatnot that, could go to a better home. I like to rehome weapons and ships to needy civilizations and mercenary units that might need them.
I've never heard it called rehoming before. I'm rehoming rescue weapons, basically. Yeah.
That's yeah. There you go.
It's all plus side. I'm a man of the people. We had a good run. We had a kind of a tough gig that last one, and I don't want to go into details, but as I said before, don't freak out about his legs, okay? It's kind of a sticky spot. I think I know how he left it. I mean, but he might still be a little sore. That's all I'm saying.
Kind of like, don't look at the chicken on his head.
Yeah. Are we in like a cut scene to Blade Runner here? This music here?
The music, yeah.
You don't like the music? Everybody bitches about the ambient music. This is a good one.
I like this.
I'm not complaining.
Not complaining. Just
Maybe take it down one notch. So when you're talking,
Is it too loud?
I just miss Girl from Impanina.
Oh God, no.
That was the best.
I can still get that, by the way.
No.
Yeah, I have it bookmarked. I have it right here.
No.
Now, if you want
That
complaints,
song.
that'll bring some complaints.
That'll do it, huh? So, you guys had talked about Palmer, about Weber's friend Palmer, or old colleague Palmer. He, as far as Weber knows, he's based in Dismal, which is in a front space because he's working with the front. But it's also a war zone too, and it's a hot war. This is a shooting war between the Kzinti and the front, which makes it more dangerous to enter into. But it is on the way. This new guy is on the way.
Right. I know he's got a.
So this new guy's where? Here?
Yeah, he's here on Asensio Station.
Wait, which guy is on Asensio Station?
The guy that the guy that wants to talk with you
Oh,
guys.
right. Okay, sorry. Not Palmer. I got it.
Not Palmer. No, Palmer, as far as you know, is in a front space at Dismal System.
Got it. Right.
What do you guys think?
Well, I'm okay with it, but what's it going to pay? Is it going to be worth our while for this trip? Now, Les, you said we could do it in 3 weeks?
Yeah. Greenpert, yeah. You can get to Greenpert in 3 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
3 weeks. First jump is to Yiz, second to Remulac, and then, where you turn it around very quickly, and then the third week will be Remulac to Greenpert.
Okay, but we can't refuel.
Or, well, now wait a second. Let me look at this. If you guys want to load up, what you can do is you might be able to do it in 2.
Could we jump?
You can jump into open space. Is what I'm.
That's what I was going to say. If we jump
4
to here,
jump 4 to here, and then
I think we can make that 2 jumps.
Yep, you can make it in 2 jumps if you jump into open space. Yep.
Well,
That
So-
might make our new traveler happy too, since speed is of the issue.
We would.
isn't it risky to jump into open space?
Well, there's just. Well, I mean, it's risky from the point of view of that if something goes wrong, you don't really have any resources. But so one thing that you do have on the gin and tonic is called a jump torpedo. Essentially, you have 2 of them. What jump torpedoes are? There's 2 of them. One of them, essentially, they're emergency beacons. So if you guys were to jump to X-1734 and something bad happened to the ship, you could launch the jump torpedo. You could launch it at Remulac, and it would essentially carry your location and an emergency distress call into.
It's a beacon to let people know where we are. Yeah.
Into civilized space, right?
It's
exactly.
like AAA for space. Is that
Right. It would take a while for people to get out to you, but if you had enough undifferentiated
What's up with the
molecular
communication
base,
systems around here?
well, it's deep space. I mean, we're talking billions of kilometers.
We're not going to run into any issues. It's going to be faster. We can take the 3-week trip back. Hopefully, we can pick something up at what is it? Greenpoint?
Greenpert, yeah. Now Greenpert is a little out of the beaten path. but it's also possible that that Weber could get a message either from Greenpert or to Dismal, or from here to Dismal, asking after his friend and see if he wants to meet.
Right. We want to get a job from Greenpert back.
Yeah, we want money.
We want money.
Now,
Well, I mean, then you would probably send a message to Emix to say, hey, can you get us a job? Hauling freight back to civilized space.
right.
Can I communicate with him through the neural net? Is that two-way?
With Emix or with Walk into Light? Emix is on
Emix.
UV SETI. You can send him a message through your neural lace, but you cannot communicate with him directly.
But he
Too far
just.
away.
Sorry. Who just contacted me?
Walk into Light. He is the mind that controls Ascensio Station. Basically, the local AI, the local controlling AI.
And he's looking for someone to take this guy to Greenpert.
He was
Commissioned.
well, no, I mean, so this guy is looking for somebody to take him to Greenpert. So he asked Walk into Light, are there any ships who are either taking passengers, taking cargo, that kind of thing, with the jump capabilities to move quickly? And while and as Walk into Light told you guys, there are several ships like that here. You guys you guys are a jump 4 ship, which means you can get in there faster. And the guy explained to me that time is important.
Now, even other jump 4 ships may try to charge it, or may try to say 3 weeks. If we can say 2 weeks, we get him there in 2 weeks at the right price.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
To pay for a round trip for us, even if we take something else on the way back to make a little more cash on the way back.
Mm-hmm. Potentially. I mean, you'd have to negotiate, but yeah, potentially. So you had a
Guys, that's what I'd like to do. Is I'd like to offer him a 2-week trip to Greenpert. He has to pay a premium price to get there in 2 weeks, and then we'll try to find an additional job on the way back.
I second.
Sure.
Third. We're
All right.
space truckers.
So Walk into Light. I mean,
not have any issues. I know this. It's my ship. I know this ship of ours.
It's not your ship. Hold on. Did you just
Of
say
ours.
that out loud?
This ship of ours. I said. I corrected myself.
Captain Chet's a little bit anxious.
hey, you're like, hey, this new guy's already talking about it as like
He's already mutiny. We're not even on the ship.
Well, it's like Scotty talking about the Enterprise.
All right. Well, that's all right.
All right, so you guys tell Walk into Light that you're willing to see this guy?
Yes.
Talk with him? Okay.
The money's
All right.
right. We can do anything.
All right, so takes a little while, about 45 minutes or so later, this guy comes over to where you guys are in the club and basically says, forgive the intrusion. My name is Quellen Kuizing, and I have been informed by Walk into Light that you guys are amenable to discussing a potential passenger and freight arrangement for me to go to Greenpert. Is that correct? Do I have the correct people?
Yeah. What's this guy's first name?
Quellen.
So
Quellen Kuizing.
which of us is the charismatic speaker? Because it sure ain't me.
Dr. Wagner's in the back, just like, whatever, dude. Yeah.
Like, who talks for us?
I don't know. I mean, it's either the
Who's the
captain or.
diplomat?
That's me.
Okay.
My job.
All right.
And you can remember it by remembering that he's the diplomat.
Ooh, hey.
See what I did
Nothing
there?
like a good mnemonic.
It's all good, man.
So he's like, may I join you to discuss it? I mean, my needs are specific. There's some logistical ramifications that I would want to discuss with you.
Okay. Oh, wait, so you're talking to me? I'm sorry, I'm not sure who's talking to who.
Yes, he's talking to Diplomat.
Of course.
You're the man.
We're always open to have a conversation.
I'm gonna be working that real hard. So he sits down and introduces himself again. Basically, he's like, "Look, my name's Quellen Singh.
Les, would you mind cranking the music down just like one notch while you're talking?
I don't know that it can even go down.
Oh, okay.
Like, don't play Careless Whisper at all, I think is what he means.
No, I can play Careless Whisper on an endless loop. I'm good with that. Just while you're talking, make sure I hear what you're saying.
Okay, so basically, he comes to you and says, "Look, my name is Quellen Singh. I have some very specific cargo and passenger needs. I need to go to Greenpoint and essentially deliver a package. These are my specifications. One, I would need a personal package with personal gear, passage and personal gear to Greenpoint on your vessel. I also have about 8 metric tons of cargo that I would ask be put into a secure cargo bay that is restricted access."
I think we could talk. Quellen, right? Can I call you Quellen?
Of course, please.
I got great news for you today. We're in the delivery business, and we can get this job done for you. And
I did
of course,
do
we
a
can
round in obstetrics.
we can take just about any kind of cargo. I need to know, is it biological or non-biological?
Oh, it's really perfectly safe. You have no worry of the cargo. It is quite secure. It won't be any bother at all. The only reason that I ask for secure cargo area is because this particular cargo is particularly valuable to me, and I just need to make sure that it is not just out amongst the crates and barrels.
Yeah, I get that. Just to ask you about the biological thing. Occasionally we get a crazy xenomorph on board, starts picking off crew members. It's really upsetting for everybody involved. And so these are the kind of things we need to hear about.
Let me be the first to assure you that under no circumstances I guarantee you that I am not bringing a dangerous life form onto your ship. Anything but.
Okay. So this is what I heard, that he's smuggling children.
No.
Children or puppies.
Of course.
We need the dues.
What were you saying, Eric? Eric had does this coffin have a question?
Captain Jet, as your security officer, I gotta ask, is it ship's policy to transport unidentified, unnamed, uninfected goods through hyperspace?
Policy is a strong word.
Policy.
But
yes, it is. It is a policy of the gin and tonic that we do not inspect any cargoes at all forever. So Quellen would say, "Look, I understand you, sir. To answer your question, Mr. Jiix, and to your question, Security Chief, it is my cargo is biological in nature. However, it is in cryosleep and in a secure cryo system."
Alarm bells are.
Hang on a sec, guys. My family's having fun their Alexas right now. Hang on a sec.
Okay. Security Chief Doyle, just let me assure you that there is nothing within this cryosleep mechanism that can pose any danger at all to your ship or to your crew. It is while biological, it is guaranteed to be pathogen free. The cryo system has its own power system, so I won't be other than to recharge some of the capacitors within the cryo system. If that's available, I would prefer to draw some power from fusion reactors. But I don't need to. If that gives you concern, it is fully capable of operating under its own power during the entirety of the voyage. I assure you that under no conditions, this is a cryogenerator that I have used several times in the past and has never given any indication of failure. You do not, sir, have to worry about my cargo springing forth into the common area and asking for coffee.
Or laying eggs in each member of the crew is always it's a problem.
Absolutely
about that.
not. Obviously that would be against
the vaccination
several...
shots alone are a lot of money. Go ahead.
Transporting dangerous xenobiology is very much against Terran law. I could possibly.
I assume we're all talking for ourselves, right?
Yeah, Eric, what were you gonna say?
Mr. Cullen, it's my job to be concerned. It's my job to be somewhat officious regarding transport of cargo. And I hear what you're saying. Unfortunately, it sounds a little bit like famous last words. And Captain Jet, if you're willing to do this, then of course you got my support. But your security chiefs must register some strong misgivings.
I'll tell you what. Obviously I don't. As security chief for the vessel, I certainly don't want to breach any of your protocols. How about this? Instead of a pressurized, secure area, why not? I'm perfectly comfortable with let me propose two things. One, I'm perfectly comfortable with having this cryogenerator stored in a area of your cargo bay in which is depressurized, so that is vacuum. That will put to rest any possible incident of what I am transporting entering the living space of the crew. And second, I know that obviously this is I have certain requests that are out of the ordinary. Please allow me to make it up to you from a financial compensation standpoint.
That was about
we are all about recompense.
Now that is part of the gin and tonics policy.
Yeah, we are all about recompense here. So, Captain, are you good with this?
I think we should consider it. Yes.
Consider it. Okay. So I guess we're all still new to each other here. Is this a diplomatic vote we're taking, or we just Captain goes and everybody else? We all have a share in this in any sort of thing we do, right?
Well, you guys haven't really sorted out how that works, but I'm assuming at some point
we talked
you'll
about
have
shares.
to.
Yeah, I forgot we talked about this last time.
Yeah, ultimately we all have a share in the end result, so we should all have at least a say in the discussion on the front end. I do maintain a certain amount of veto power if it's ever necessary.
Yeah, I think we can jump to the Remulac system, right, and then jump over to Greenport. I'm going to say Greenpoint.
If you talk to Mehmet, Mr. Tamm, who's the pilot and primary navigator, he will say that it's possible to do it if we jump into open space from Mirabilis and then recalculate the jump and then jump to Greenport, we can get there in 2 weeks, as opposed to going via Yi's system and then Remulac. And then jumping instead of 3 weeks, and which appeals to this guy Quellen. I mean, if you guys say this at the table, and it was like, what are we talking about? And then Mr. Tamm, Pilot Tamm, will say something like, well, we can get there in 2 weeks if you guys are comfortable with jumping into open space, blah blah blah, and we have the fuel pods, to do it. Considering, you guys could carry a lot of extra fuel. And so the guy says, look, I understand that you because of my specific needs that you are opting away from other more routine cargoes. My understanding is that your original destination was going to be Ishkur. And my further understanding is that you had locked in a contract for 2 kilocredits per ton. I'm going to assume that at least half of your cargo space would be taken up. So allow me to do this. Let me place a 20% premium on the initial cargo fees for a total of 120 kilocredits. Plus, I will purchase half the fuel for the drive at my expense, And again, the other things we talked about, my cargo can be kept in depressurized space, and I forget what the other one was. Oh, recompense. Yeah, but basically he's saying, look, I'll pay you 120 kilocredits plus fuel if you guys will take me there.
Can I, if we could have it aside away from this person for a second?
Of course.
Quigley or Qui-Gon?
Quellen.
Okay.
Queetzing.
He's gelling like Quellen. I got it.
Yeah, he says, yeah, if you'll excuse me, if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, I'll go up to the bar and have a quick space martini. You guys want me to? Because I need a space martini too. So
we'll get a space martini.
We'll get a space martini. So while he's off for getting a space martini, a couple questions here. Like, do we have any sort of patrols or blockades we could come across? Do anybody know that might search our ship for these kind of things? Otherwise, it seems like a simple mission. And what's our moral compass set to at the moment?
That's a good question.
Mine is a opportunist, but not generally in the human trafficking probably, but maybe we don't know exactly what he's selling.
I think as long as we're not raping children or stomping on puppies or kitties with golf shoes.
So regular Birkenstocks are okay, but the golf shoes is where you draw the line.
Well, yeah, Birkenstocks are fine. They're comfortable.
So you mean space Birkenstocks?
Space Birkenstocks, yes. Space and stocks.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to make it very far in this business if we're going to play it too straight-laced.
Yeah,
exactly.
You want to survive and keep getting fuel, you're going to have to.
We need adventure.
Willing to bend in certain situations and not always ask all the questions you need.
That's what I want to ask. So, just I don't think that's probably what we're dealing with here, but just want to see where we're set for a moral compass before we take these kind of jobs, and then.
That's going to be a long discussion. I have a feeling.
We just checked it, and the current setting is flexible, so it seemed to be. There's a. Oh, God damn it! You guys with me still?
Yeah,
we hear you.
I stepped on my microphone actually, so it sounded like I hung up. It was a provision.
Be careful what you say.
Provision in our contract that we don't stomp puppies with golf shoes. I think is right at the top of the list.
Okay.
We'll add that. Yeah, we'll add that.
Les, I think a question I had for you is, we're all pretty well traveled or seasoned travelers throughout these areas.
Of course.
What sort of
you're all men in your 40s.
What sort of blockades or inspections can we come across? Les?
Okay,
blockades? So
what's the chances we could be inspected?
Well, it depends. So so it depends on the essentially it depends on the law level of the place where you're going. And honestly, those inspections often are often levied when cargo is moving off. Obviously, this guy's cargo is here, so it's past whatever inspection that it needed to be to get here. If it's not that he acquired it here. If you were to go to Jiix and Remulac are both high law level areas. They're both part of the Salamini cluster, and they're both pretty high law levels. If you needed to offload that cargo, you can pretty much guarantee it would be scanned and inspected by something. Greenport is a little bit of a lawless land, right? So Greenport, I'm thinking probably Weber would know this, but also Mehmet would know this. Mehmet Tamm, your pilot, would probably know this. Greenport is a little bit of a lawless land when it comes to that. Frankly, there's a lot of smuggling that goes in and out of Greenport into both Kzinti and Effronter territory. Greenport is sort of the staging area for a lot of smuggled stuff going into the war zone. And by smuggled stuff, I mean stuff that comes out of civilized space. It goes essentially in the same direction that you are going from. It comes from these A category systems, and it goes out to Greenport. It gets transshipped into probably some other ships, and those ships head north into the Kazintia front war zone, eking out a substantial war-based profit from either the Affronters or the Kazinti. So there's probably a lot of, it's not smuggling per se, but let's say profiteering that goes on with goods and services coming out of civilized space that the Terran authorities would probably just as soon not have going into a war zone.
Okay.
If that roundabout ass explanation.
Yeah, it sounds like right in our wheelhouse. Then a little.
Well, it certainly
service.
would be in the wheelhouse of a group with a flexible moral compass.
Yeah, moral, not evil.
Yeah,
we're not looking to do evil. I think that was the temperature I took when we just did a quick poll there while you were away.
And so
these are important questions to ask, because the first A-team game I played with Les and Dawn here, they were on the darker side of the moral compass.
That was a completely different character.
It was a completely different game. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm like the straight man in that one.
And you were a necromancer.
I know. Well, yeah. I was the friendliest
necromancer. Willing to change for
love, but didn't work out.
Ray.
Well, Ray was like, I pretty much hate you. So
yeah.
She was having none of your evil ways. Although she did get you to stop chopping the hands off of people, which
I thought was never mind.
Yeah, I know. You thought it was a viable alternative to murdering them, which
killing them.
Yeah, no, I get it. All right, so I mean, he's still over at the bar. He's sort of like looking your way, checking his watch, checking his data pad. The guy, so I have to look at this because normally my first thing would be like, make a perception check, but we don't have perception checks here. So,
what's the equivalent?
What is the equivalent of a perception check in this place? Sorry, I'm checking the rule book here under skills.
Look at stuff 3 or something.
I know.
Forward
I guess if anybody has jack of all trades, that would work. Give me a quick jack of all trades thing, or
hey Les, do you have what I sent you? Because I cannot find. I made
have
like
it, yeah.
10 characters and I cannot find this character. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, jack of all trades or streetwise.
I don't know what I have.
Do you need me to send it back to you?
Yes, please.
You got it.
I want to learn about me.
Yeah. Jet has none of that stuff. He's a military guy.
Terrible, terrible guy. Okay. All right. Forwarding to you now. Does anybody have streetwise or jack of all trades skill?
Great question. You sent mine back. I will look.
No.
So let me see. Oh, Weber Jiix has streetwise.
Like I said, I'm a man
and carousing.
Oh yes, I knew I had.
That's a skill worth having.
Yeah.
So you do have streetwise -1.
Right.
So in Traveler we only use one set of dice. We use 2d6 for pretty much everything.
All right.
And the default difficulty check, for lack of a better term, is 8. So
right,
give me a roll. This is drum roll please, because
Is
this
this
is
the
our
inaugural
first
roll?
die roll of our game of C Team. So congratulations, whoever Jiix.
Woo,
I got it. All right, and he made it.
He made it.
So with his -1, that comes in
an 8.
An 8.
That's what he needed.
Well, no, I mean, so it's basically +1 he needed. So it's basically he's got one skill.
Right,
this is a 10. So he got it.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you see this guy over at the bar. Everybody's sort of talking about like, are we morally capable of doing this? The guy's probably got some sort of like plague dust or something in this thing. He seems to you. I mean, Weber, your perception of this guy is he seems like a businessman. Obviously, his business is odd, but he seems well funded and willing to pay for the privilege of privacy and security.
And I think
he
given
does
the
look,
universe we're in, asking if it's a xenomorph is always important to ask.
Yeah, and he said it's not. He flat out said it's not a xenomorph. It's not a xenomorph. So,
We're not going to put it past you to try to get one on board.
Well, no, of course. Honestly, I wouldn't trust me either. So, but he does look like he gives off an odd vibe in that he's kind of like a little like frightened's too strong a word, but he keeps looking at his data pad, and you notice with your 10 roll that he has positioned himself at the bar so that all of the exits of this particular club he can see quite clearly.
So he's probably nervous to somebody's going to show up, or
that's why he wants to get out quick.
He does. Yeah, he does seem.
Do we want to charge? Do you want to charge any more for the heat on this one?
He's offered. Current offer is 120 kilocredits. Plus
can somebody tell me if that's a lot?
Gas.
Can somebody tell if that's a lot?
I don't know.
Did I?
Well, it is above what we were going to get.
How many?
It's more than what you were going to get, but it's a
many
longer trip.
How many quatloos does that translate to? I know what a quatloo is worth.
So let me just take a look at this. So you guys haven't talked about shares or profit or anything like that, but I did come up with a very kind of quick and dirty. Dan, did I ever share this with you? The financing for the gin and tonic.
Not in detail, no. You just
okay.
Mortgage to the hill.
Okay, so essentially, what you need to do, it's mortgage to the hilt, right? So from your annual payments are, so all right, yeah. So your annual payments are about 3 million credits a year. So 120 is not much to sneeze at, and it's going to take up 2 weeks. You're probably going to want to try and extract a little more from this guy. Remember, you're a 100-ton hauler. You were going to get 100 credits for 50 tons of cargo. 100 kilocredits, I'm sorry. So a kilocredit is obviously 1,000 credits. So you're going to get 100,000 for 50 tons of cargo, or half your capacity for a 1-week trip. And you were probably, frankly, going to try and put some around it. If you look at a 52-week standard year, Terran year, essentially you would have to get. Hold on. I'm doing a little. Of course, because it's a game.
No,
and not my life.
We're fascinated with economy, so please.
So we were going to make 100 credits for a 1-week trip, right?
Right, you're going to make 100 credits for a 1-week trip. So, based on this, in order to cover your nut, and this is before shares and before profit, before fuel and recyclables, you need to earn at least 58,000 credits a week.
Jeez.
Just to cover the payment on the ship. So a 2-week trip.
Wait. We need 58,000 credits?
A week, yeah.
How much is a ship? That's like
50 million credits.
What's the VIG on this sucker?
50 million credits on a 30-year mortgage. Oh, I'm sorry, a 50-year mortgage.
Well, Captain, I hope you
this guy needs to pay 180,000 credits.
Minimum, right?
Yeah, for a 2-week trip. To just cost of the ship is 100. I clock in at 116.
Yeah.
And then unrefined fuel is 1,000 credits per ton. And it's 1 ton of jump fuel per parsec. So essentially, for the trip to Greenport, you would need 8 tons. He's willing to pay for 4. That's another 4,000. On top of the 120 that he's offered you, he'll probably crank it up to 125.
It sounds like a little low for our needs, right? Unless we can get some other cargoes.
It's a little low. I mean, basically, unless you can find some other cargo going to Greenport.
Look,
we don't have time to look for it.
Yeah.
I thought we charged him
240.
I say 240. Forget about the fuel, but 240 flat out.
Yeah. I mean,
because we're giving up this other job.
Yeah.
So we don't need him to buy our gas. That's our job. It's we need us to have someone give us gas money. Listen, we charge him 240. He's in a hurry. We aren't amateurs. 240. And if he can find us, if he can find us some extra cargo to take along, then we can adjust his fare.
I like that.
All right.
So
What does everybody else think?
Yeah, I'd say we squeeze the market. I mean, we encourage our customer
We
to maybe
squeeze the water.
pony up a little bit more for the to cover our costs.
Because we're giving up another job and because we don't have time to put together a full shipment.
Right, exactly. We're like maybe we can pick something up on the way, but on one of the systems we hit, but otherwise
on the
we'll
way
travel
there
light.
because we're making a jump outside civilization.
maybe this guy has some friends who need it. Passage 2, if he can help us fill more of our manifest, then he can pay less.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we say, all right, friend, you want us to get there? We can get you there in 2 weeks, and no questions asked. But price is $240. That's that.
Is that what you guys want to do?
Yeah. What do you think, diplomat?
Yeah, I could. So the thing is, squeeze them for over 200. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, don't say forget the fuel. 240
Yeah.
though, because you got to cover all our costs since we're
Yeah.
picking up no other cargo.
Yep. I'll have that conversation with. Hey, Quillen, I'll summon him over. Come on over here.
All right. So he obviously comes back. Did you get a chance to talk about it? Do you find my offer acceptable? I really am in quite a hurry to get to Greenpoint. So I'm hoping.
And let me
I'm
tell
hoping
you,
that
we
can come to an
deliver.
arrangement.
We can deliver this on time and on the money. However, for us to take this job on, especially with not giving us enough time to load our cargo hold with other goods and services that other valued customers require, we're going to need to charge a premium on this one. And tell you what, forget the fuel. We got the fuel covered, but we're going to be needing 240 on this one to make it happen. If we should shake on that right now, we can load this right now. We can get this start loaded. If you need some time to think about it,
40. That is quite a premium, essentially double what I've offered you.
Well, I mean, if you need time to think about it, I fully understand. But I understand that maybe time is of the essence for this particular cargo, and we want to make that happen for you.
Give me a. Do you have a you got the email I sent you, right?
Oh, I was so busy just smarming it up over here. I did not read. Here you go. To diplomat. Yes, diplomat. I assume I have diplomacy. It's
Well, it's not actually a skill. It's again. I keep going back to Pathfinder terms, but. I guess streetwise again. Does anybody have?
Forgery, interrogation. I got interrogation.
Carousing. I don't know that works.
Streetwise might be good.
Small. I know. Small watercraft one. That's
Yes.
it. That's the way.
Yeah.
So all right. Give me a streetwise roll.
I know. I got rid of that one. That's dumb. Streetwise roll 2d6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that.
Killing it. So 11, almost max. So he goes, time really is of the essence for me. And I do hope to. I tell you what, 220. Forget the gas. No more questions about my cargo. And we leave today. And we have a deal.
What was his offer?
220. Skip the gas. No questions. And we leave today.
I'm good with it getting this venture going, but I defer to the cap.
Worked for me.
Yeah, let's get this on.
All right.
I will. I'll put my my appendage out. Shake on it. Our value customer.
My appendage.
Yeah. you know,
Tentacle. He
He's
extends
not
a
every-
tentacle
Trying
and
not to be
camaraderie.
speciesist.
not everything. Yeah, not everything out here could be.
No,
He's
a
Okay.
salami. He's a human.
He's a salami. Got it.
Yeah, he's a
He's
salami.
salami. Mm.
Yeah. Are
Sorry,
we talking
but
Genoa
Too
or?
many space martinis. I had trouble speaking there for a second.
right.
All right. So deal struck. He's
I'll
like,
tell
I
him
will.
I'll tell him what bay we're at, or dock to find us at, and
Mhm.
we'll get it loaded and on our way today.
He's like, I'll take care of getting my cargo to that bay, and then we'll go ahead and get it loaded up, and then we'll be off. Sounds great.
Okay.
I will see you in a couple hours.
Quick question. Maybe the captain or Les can answer. Somebody else can answer this. Is there anywhere else we could pick up like legit cargo to fill in some of the gaps we have in the 2 hours we have, or is it just going to be too tight a frame?
Possible to it's potentially yes.
I would say that we'd want to pad our bottom line whenever possible.
Like maybe we just ask Walk into Light, or.
Well, right, yeah. You would ask Walk into Light. So
Right.
in this case, you have you don't have a ton of time. So I'm gonna say that okay. All right, I have a cargo thing here. I think you get. So here's what I'm gonna do. Does anybody have any sort of cargo acquisition pertinent skill?
Let's look.
Cargo
Does that mean money?
I believe
Or computer or something like that might
I believe
work.
it's small
computer.
watercraft, right?
And throwing.
You're bringing to bear small water. So, Dr. Wagner, you have computer skills.
I do. I have computer at 2 and electronics at 3.
Ooh, okay. Does anybody else have any skills that they feel would be pertinent to the acquisition of cargo?
Captain Jack has engineering 2 and electronics 1.
I have recruiting 2 and forgery 2.
Recruiting might work.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Anybody else?
I have cudgel 3.
Cudgel 3. You're gonna beat the cargo out of somebody.
I have medical 6, so we can dope him.
Medical 6. Yeah, you're just gonna inject somebody. All right. Tell you what. What I'm gonna do is I have this thing here. So what I'm gonna say is both of you get a chance to roll to find cargo. And I think using your on one hand, Dr. Wagner with your computer skills, on the other hand with your what were you using?
Who?
Medical? I'm not sure.
Matt, what skill were you
Oh,
using?
I had recruiting or forgery.
Recruiting. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I think your recruiting skills and his computer skills, the potential for finding a cargo might work. So what I'd like you to do is both roll 2d6 with those appropriate skills, adding 2. And I think in this case
if I'm adding 2, that'd be 10.
you guys need a 10 or better.
I got a 10 then. If I'm adding
You got
2.
a 10. Okay.
All right, but let the doc
What
roll.
did-
See what the doc
That, I don't know. That was an accident.
Oh, you need to roll 2. 2d6
Right.
plus
I don't
2.
know what happened there.
That's all right.
So 2d6. What's going on?
While I'm
There it
while
is.
I'm playing
2d6
it,
plus 2 is a 7. All right. So your computer, Dr. Wagner, your computer efforts do not prove successful. You're basically checking the boards and stuff like that, forums, cargo.org to try and find some stuff. You don't find anything. But Weber, you go out and you actually talk to some people. You go down to the docks and talk to some people, and you do manage to find a cargo. So now I'm going to break with tradition. I have a chart, a cargo chart. So I want you to roll I want you to roll 2 percentile dice. One roll of 1 from 100 to find out what the cargo is, and another roll from 1 to 100 to find out how much of it there is.
I think that's you, Matt.
That's you, Matt. I need 2
Say-
percentiles.
2 percentile. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was having trouble processing. Processing speed was slow.
You need to upgrade your
So-
server.
2 D100s, right?
Yeah, do them one at a time.
First one. And any pluses you want me to add to it or no?
No, these are straight up rolls.
82.
82. All right, let's see what's available. 82 is, here we go, illegal luxuries.
Yeah. Little fake Fendies.
Endangered or extinct animal products is what you have. Now, this is a
Nice.
premium job. All right, so roll the next 17 tons of endangered animal products that you are offloading from Mirabilis and taking to Greenburn. All right,
Sweet.
so right now the cost for that is 17 tons times 5.5.
What's 5.5?
5.5 is my chart's modifier for illegality. So that equals
Dilly-dally.
23. And and it's a jump 4 ship, so you get a bonus there. It's a jump. It's actually taking a green perk. It's that. So it's
Carry the 2.
5. So the offer here on those illegal things is 200 kilocredits. Another 200.
Can they load it today?
They can load today. In fact, they need to get it off. They need to get it off station.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not even gonna barter on this one. We're just gonna make this happen right now. Let's shake on it. Let's get it done.
Okay.
Boss.
All right.
I'm gonna
They get it done, and
contact
they're
the
like,
captain and like, boss, I'm gonna make you very happy.
I hope we don't get boarded. Would be rough.
Well, yeah, these things happen.
All right.
You know,
right.
I think we talked about a guy who might be able to cover
Might
some
be able to help us if we end up in jail.
some gear. You know, in terms of keeping the fuzz off us.
Well, I don't like to shoot at cops. They shoot back.
Very true. Good thing we're not armed.
As Eric is just like, yeah, that's a good thing. It's a good thing we're not armed. All right, so these guys, you guys make arrangements with. They're like, we'll get it over to you right away. We got to get this off. We got to get this stuff off station. Otherwise, we just take it to Greenburn. You can unload it, and somebody will take it into a fronter space. They love this kind of stuff. And they're going to pay 200 kilocredits. So the total job is 200 for the illegal pelts, and
Freeze-dried Ewoks.
220 for passage and the guys' other things. So you guys actually are only carrying about 25 metric tons of cargo out of Mirabilis, but you're making a huge premium on it. So that's all good. So 420 for the trip. All right. So you guys, Emix has already arranged for you guys to have a full loadout of both fuel and UMB. So let me just check and make sure I have all that proper.
Based on my dealings with Enix before, is this something we now need to let him know about?
Probably.
Say, hey, we're doing a quick side trip.
Yeah, because you're essentially turning down the other cargo.
Right.
Are we turning it down or are we postponing it?
And if you can get us a job from there, that's cool.
Okay, so
Let's try that
your full loadout of jump fuel is enough for 8 parsecs. It's 2 jumps, so you'll be burning fumes by the time you get to Greenburn, but you can get there. Your pilot Tamm is confident that you guys can get there.
Excellent.
All right, so things
So
get
let's
loaded.
send a message before we go to Enix
Okay.
and tell him that we're taking up this side job and wondering if he can set up any jobs going out of Greenburn.
Right.
Okay.
We don't have to tell Mr. Cullen who else we're transporting. We can ask him if he can find us some more fares. You know what? For each fare he finds us, maybe we'll let him save 5 thousand. Just a thought.
Well, so we don't get to talk live to Enix. This is just a message we send them.
It's a message, yeah. It's
Get there.
essentially a subspace message, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe when we get to Greenpert, we'll hear back from them, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Gotcha. Got it.
But cool idea.
Okay. So you do send a message?
Yeah. But,
Okay.
and I think where he was going as well, so it's not like overshare. We just tell him we got a side gig.
Yeah, I assume he's used to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. All
He
right.
knows we got to make the bank.
All right. You guys have a full loadout. Anything you guys want to do before you head out from Mirabilis into open space? Now, a couple of things. One, you have not talked about shares in the company yet, or forming a company, by which this new your first real jobs here are going to, which are paying pretty handsomely. You guys are going to get a total of in this case 420 kilocredits for a 2-week job. So that's pretty good.
That's basically a month's worth of mortgage, right, for this ship. Less our cuts.
Yeah, you're starting off with a full loadout of thing, but yeah. So just to cover the ship cost for 2 weeks is 116. So if you guys are pulling down 420, nice.
Minus 116 minus the fuel. We got to replace it.
Well, you got to replace it. So, and it's 33. Essentially, that'll be another 8. Hold on. All right. So we're looking at initial. Once you back out the mortgage, you're talking about 304,000 credits and change. Another $8,000 to replenish the fuel. Another probably $2,000 or $3,000 to replenish undifferentiated molecular base for air and water and food. Say 10 total.
Holy spreadsheet, Batman.
15 total. You're pulling down 295 in overall profit. Now keep in mind that you're going to have to every year. You need to pay. I believe the rule is 1% of the total value of the ship in maintenance. Let me do this. Hold on a second. Which is 500 kilocredits. So you have to sort of have a little bit of bank there too. But yeah, profit on this 295.
So refresh my memory, guys. I had this conversation, I think, with Les, but I don't remember if I had it with you. Forgive me if that's not what we said. But I thought the idea was it was equal shares, but that the ship gets 2, 1 for maintenance and 1 for.
I think that's what we set up. I think that's what we talked about. Like the ship needed to get some for maintenance. Well, it was maintenance, upgrade, and mortgage, right? Or no? I'm not sure how.
Well,
how
first we cover the mortgage
separate.
and the fuel costs. Then the ship gets 2 shares, 1 for maintenance. 1 was just like a kitty for the ship for
a slush fund.
Yeah.
So that's a total of 7 shares. 5.
Is that okay though? We
2 for the ship.
We could go with 6 and give the ship 1, and then if we want to buy anything for the ship, we all have to contribute to it.
I'm gonna reload my space martini while you guys talk this out.
So 400 roughly divided by 7 would be 57,000 quatlus per share, right? So that would mean the ship would get 114.
Right.
Right. Okay. I think that seems reasonable to start with. We can always readjust as we go along. As an aside, I don't know what I'm going to spend my space money on. So I'm just ready for an adventure more than the spreadsheet work.
We might still want to go get some weapons and armor and stuff.
Yep. Hey, well, I know a guy.
But I'm also thinking ahead to getting like guns on the ship or new armor or.
Well, don't forget about
fields.
the xenomorph insurance when you have to have that egg removed from your larynx.
Come on, you're going to keep it in depressurized cargo hold, man. Nothing can survive that.
I'm pretty sure that the alien, Sigourney Weaver's alien, had no problem with zero vac.
The look on Eric's face when I said that was just like, yeah, right. Like, yeah, we're done here. All right, so if you guys divide it up into 7 shares, 2 for the ship and 1 for each of you, individual share amounts for this trip would be just over 41,000 credits.
I came up with 57,
Not bad.
but I must have done it wrong. But I said it was just 40,000. But it was 400,000 divided by 7, right?
No, it's 304.6 after
304?
mortgage.
Oh, after mortgage. Okay.
After mortgage. So mortgage is covered. So 304,615, and then 15 grand to reload the fuel in UMB brings you down to 289,615 divided by 7 is 41,373.6.
What is this FICO on here? Who the hell's FICO?
score?
Yeah, no. What's the one you're looking at your paycheck? They always take a huge chunk out of it.
Who the hell's
FICO.
FICA? Why is he taking
Yeah,
all
FICA. Yeah, FICA.
Roads and bridges, man. Roads and bridges. Deep space roads and bridges.
All the street light you can handle.
We haven't even talked about taxes and fees yet, but
Oh God.
we'll get there, I'm sure.
All right, let's
That's
get this show
most
on the
fun
road.
of Art Traveler.
So
Was the
one-
taxes and fees discussion?
Yeah, the spreadsheets and the charts and the. Okay, how do we do this in the 80s with no spreadsheets? We had to write it down on a graph paper and probably do the math ourselves.
We shoulder rolled a lot of it, is what we did.
Yeah,
They call them slide rules.
yeah. I think
All
we
right,
just
so
pour
are
all
we
the
ready?
time. Yep.
All right. Well, they get all the cargo loaded. You're only pulling a single pod. The guy shows up and he's got several like robot servitors helping him. And essentially, what he's bringing aboard, he's got his own personal gear, which is being sort of ported around by a cart robot. But what you guys suspect is the cryogenic chamber. It's about the size of a bulldozer. All right, but it's shaped like a loaf of bread almost. It's round on top, various kinds of like computer readouts and stuff like that, and it's being trucked in, basically on a big sort of gurney kind of thing. He goes over there and he does a couple of checks a couple of things. Basically says all is nominal, everything's okay. As we agreed, please load it into whatever cargo. I'm assuming. So basically the gin and tonic has 25 metric tons volume of internal cargo, and then it has pod mounts for 3 sort of external cargo pods that can be attached. Now you may just the illegal luxuries guys are just gonna they just load it into internal cargo. You can depressurize the below deck's cargo deck if you want to do that. I mean, Jin can do that.
And what would be the benefit there?
Well, I mean, so you guys were worried that anything biological that gets out of this guy's cryo chamber, the thought being is that if something ends up breaking out of the cryo chamber, which your security chief was worried about,
And it might be dangerous.
and it's dangerous. If it busts out of there in vacuum, it's going to be at least partially hamstrung by the fact that 1, not very much can survive in vacuum, especially biologicals, and 2, it's going to have a devil of a time getting into the pressurized portion of the ship.
Can we keep some sort of sensors on it to see if it shows any signs of being anything but?
You can have Jin
And
scan
then-
it. I mean, once it's aboard ship, you can have Jin take a look at it.
All right. I guess we'll
What
probably
do you
do
think,
that.
security chief? Because of course, the opposite, playing devil's advocate. If it's something alive that isn't particularly evil and something goes wrong, we just killed it.
That's several things. All right. I vote we do depressurize and let's have Jen scan it. And I'm gonna stay awake for the entire trip.
Okay.
For 2
For
weeks.
a week?
First of all, nothing can go wrong.
don't think
Your,
we
sec-
can
your
see.
security chief is going to stay awake for a week. This is going to be great. By day 5, he's going to be like, "Did you guys hear that? What is that?"
Excellent.
You guys will be in the mess hall going, "More heavy gravy, Mr. Doyle." No, I can't have it. I gotta stay awake. Tryptophan. All right. So, okay. I mean, if you want to try and stay awake, I mean, you probably could, using stimulants and stuff like that. But I mean,
I'm going to take,
want to.
but, I would like, is it possible for somebody to, can we trade a vid camera on this thing? Just keep it in view.
Absolutely. I mean, are you asking Jen? You're asking the ship?
Jim, can you point a camera at this cargo and just keep it in focus for us and maybe put it up on a screen somewhere where people can see it?
Absolutely. I can train one of my drone cameras at it on a continual basis, so that it can be viewed at any time from any screen on the ship. What I can also do is keep a passive sensor scan going in the cargo deck, so that if anything changes significantly on the cargo deck, I'll get an alert and I'll be able to alert you as well.
Thank you, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about our Ewok pelts? Is that loaded up yet?
Ewok pelts seem to be, they're loaded up. You do make it say, you're like, is it okay if we depressurize the cargo hold? Is this kind of thing? And they're like, we don't care. We just got to get it off station, man. Whatever you do with it after it comes off here, you're getting paid. Just get it the fuck out of here. If they get caught with Ewok pelts at this station,
hey,
yeah.
Discretion and speed, that's our motto.
Discretion and speed, that's our motto. I'm tweeting that. Hold on a second.
Besides rehoming,
I tweeted that already.
Sorry.
The tweet was, we had something of a side hustle rehoming rescue weapons. And the second tweet from tonight was, I just checked our moral compass and it's firmly set on flexible.
Yep.
What did you just say? That's our motto. Hold on.
Discretion and speed.
Pretty good motto.
We're like
while we were playing the first hour or so, the True Lies was on in the background, so I'm going to incorporate a little Tom Arnold into my character as well.
All right, so yeah, everything seems to be okay. Mr. Doyle, your package is safely on board as well, still sealed. And is there anything else that you guys want to do before you leave the station?
Lay in some really good booze. So what's the best booze the station has?
Oh, you're talking about Romulan ale, aren't you?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Keep in mind, we haven't been paid quite yet.
Yeah, it's still.
It's out of my own money. It's not my. Yeah, this would be out of my own money. I'm gonna pick up a case of the good stuff.
A case of the good
Romulan
stuff.
Ale, Zima, whatever they got.
Zima,
Yeah.
bootleg
Zima.
Zima.
Wow.
Yeah. Straight from Terra.
That word.
All right, so if no one has anything else they want to do, you guys buckle up. Jin basically does the key lock sequence with walk into light to disengage from the station. Everything is going according to plan, and you guys, Tamm, take her out.
Trying to scrape the paint.
I
Yeah, he scrapes the paint on the
It's like
gantry.
Galaxy Quest.
The first voyage of the Gin and Tonic has now commenced. Hooray! All right. All right. So you guys get out there. You meander. It takes several hours for you guys to sort of meander out to the Lagrange point. You can't engage jump drives in a significant gravity well.
Right,
Like
there,
that's
right.
the problem. Yeah. So you have to go out to the Lagrange point after several hours, just about 6 or 7 hours. You get the indication that Jin comes over your neural lace. But let me just ask, does anybody not have neural lace?
That's the one thing I made sure I bought, as we discussed, since I had a couple bucks.
Okay, so everybody has it?
yeah.
I don't.
Coffin, you
Oh,
don't? It'd be a pretty good security measure. Nobody can insert brain viruses into your neural lace. It's probably a good idea.
If you all have it, that's great. I will count on you to keep me looped in.
Well, certainly, from the point of view of security, Jin can certainly address you via voice. There are speakers all over the place. So, and honestly, Jin will probably broadcast on both voice and neural lace when he says, "We have just received clearance to engage the jump drives."
First jump, right?
Yep. Let's go. And then,
Right.
You'll notice everybody else is just sitting calmly in the bridge, and I have a 5-point safety restraint system. Harness
he's
on.
all buckled up.
Yeah,
He's
everybody looks at
surrounded,
me.
wrapped himself in bubble wrap.
Everybody looks over. I'm just gonna be like, "What?"
All right. Mr. Tamm, via neural lace, Jin reaches out and says, "Would you care for me to engage the jump drive, sir?"
Go ahead.
Jump drive engaged. And you could feel it. It's like, so the thing about jump space, or under space as they sometimes call it, is it's like a separate spatial thing. You're not so much folding space in the Dune sense, but it's almost like you're dropping out of normal space and into a type of physical reality of physics, and by physical I mean as opposed to physics, that sort of surrounds terrestrial space. So you fall into jump space essentially, and then you travel through it. It takes a week to go over, but your jump drives have premium refined fuel in them. There is only a very small chance of a missed jump, so I need you to roll a piloting skill check, Don. Mr. Tamm needs to roll either piloting or engineering.
Engineering.
Engineering, okay. Ooh, so
Now, engineering is 3, so 4 plus 3.
7. Okay, so you're fine. Missed jumps are only on the worst of occasions. So everything okay. You're a little nervous about some of the jump drive stuff. Maybe have it take a look at green print, but seems to be operating nominally. The fuel's good quality. Everything seems to be okay. You guys are traveling, and so you're a week in jump space.
Before you do the next thing, do we ever have Jin scan our cargo?
Not yet. You haven't. You can ask him to now if you want.
Can we do it on the sly?
Sure.
Okay.
Jin works for you. He doesn't work for the other guy.
Captain, are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll do a quick scan for strictly safety.
And we can sell it to them as a bonus. This is just part of the service you get from it.
Yeah.
So Jin does a multi-band scan on the car. Do you want to do on all of the cargo, or just this guy's cryo system?
Well, if it doesn't cost anything besides me talking, then let's do the whole bit.
All right. So first
There's
thing I'll
some dice
tell you
roll
is
balls. Let's
that
prioritize this.
Is that the cargo of Ewok pelts is exactly as described. It is biological, non-living, encased in what looks to be the outer shell is just a typical standard cargo shell. Think like the cans that they use on those big ships that go back and forth. Those big sort of like cans that they put on trucks. And move those things. Cargo container. Basically, imagine a space version of that. Probably looks like a plastic sunglasses case, only giant. Basically, to tell you, there's no particular anti-scanning countermeasures on this particular thing, so you can see pretty clearly what's in it. It does look to be biological, non-living skins and pelts in individualized freeze-dried containers. They're basically saran wrapped, and 17 tons of them. Yeah, Ewok pelts. Doesn't seem to be anything in there. There's nothing else in there. It doesn't look like they tried to slip something in there to smuggling. It's illegal cargo as it is. Slipping a couple of kilograms of space.
Didn't smuggle any illegal cargo in with the illegal cargo.
No, amazingly enough, they did not. So the deal went down pretty fast. If this was a deal that was brokered, they might have tried to slip a few kilos of space coke in there or something like that. But in this case, nothing. The other thing that Guy brought on, that Quillen brought on board, is a different story entirely. So what Jin will tell you is that a lot of basic perfunctory scans. There's a fair amount of what he would call countermeasures, passive countermeasures in this case. Basically, the cargo container itself is constructed in such a way that it makes scanning difficult. What he can tell you is that the container itself does exhibit all the typical characteristics of a cryo container, in that there are portions of it that are quite cold. From a there's significant fluctuation, significant differences in temperature between various parts of the thing. It has its own internal power supply, although you guys did let him hook up to the fusion reactor, right?
Did we?
Just a juice. It costs you nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he took a big
Yeah,
plug
we're
and just
giving,
plugged it right into the fusion
fine.
reactor. So he is drawing power from the ship. It's minimal. It's nothing significant.
He's with us. He's not going to do anything to endanger the ship since he's on the ship.
He's on board. Yeah. So it is drawing power. There's multiple temperature fluctuations. There does seem to be one biological inside living, although and he's like, I can't get any life signs off of it. I can't give you like what their heartbeat is or anything like that because it's shielded. But it does seem to be that in the very core of this thing is a single living biological entity.
You said it was the size of a bulldozer?
The entire case is about the size of a bulldozer, yeah.
Okay. Is it covered in eyeballs and tentacles?
No, it's covered in readouts and computer equipment.
All right, I just want to make sure it wasn't a space beholder. All right.
Although, hold on, I got to write that down. Space. I'm sure we'll be seeing one of those pretty soon. But yeah, no, I mean, so that's what Jim will tell you is like, look, there's passive countermeasures here. It's frankly, it's probably designed specifically to avoid being scanned in the way that I do scans. I don't really have anything. He will tell you this. If you were to open it and break the whatever seals it have on it, I would be able to give you a better scan. But while it's sealed, this is as good as I could do. It does give every indication of being some sort of cryo housing.
I don't. At least currently, I don't think we have any reason to do that. We're all about getting paid. So
Okay, all right.
let's get this to its destination.
Yeah, real fast. Let's get it to the place directly.
So the first couple of days that you guys are traveling in jump space, everything goes essentially without incident. Quellen takes meals with you. I mean, probably about half of his meals he takes with you guys. And he proves to be, a pretty nice guy. Tells a few interesting stories, a lot of laughs, that kind of stuff. He actually will, share with you if offered. He would share with you a drink of that Romulan ale that you brought from thing. Seems to be a kind of sort. He actually brings out a bottle of his own. It's of Remulakian Scotch that he pulls out, and he says, "Try this." And so you guys share a couple of drinks. Seems like a genuinely decent dude. He's kind of, you would guess his age at probably mid to late 50s.
He fits right in with this crew.
Yeah, it's like, everybody talking about how cool shit used to be.
And those damn young kids just aren't listening anymore.
Kids today, man, why does my hip hurt?
Stupid space millennials. They're ruining everything. On the 5th day out, however, you guys are sort of like, the standard day is sort of begun. And Eric, Mr. Doyle, and Captain Black, you guys both get notices from, and Dr. Milagrosa, or Dr. Wagner does as well. And in fact, Doyle, you and Black are sort of CC'd on this. This is actually Jin reaching out to Dr. Wagner, and he basically says, Dr. Wagner, I'd like to alert you to a potential medical issue that I'd like to alert you I've been, as I always do, I passively monitor everyone for life signs and things like that, so that I can adjust, oxygen production, prepare for enough water for the day out of the UMB and stuff, and similarly, so I monitor everybody. As of about 22 minutes ago, I am not receiving any life signs from Mr. Queetsing's stateroom. Now, I should let you know that Mr. Queetsing asked me to not monitor him continually, as a matter of course, which I have done. However, I do periodically monitor his life signs to ensure that enough food is prepared and stuff like that. And my initial monitor this morning came back. I'm not getting any life signs from him. I do not have active cameras in his stateroom per earlier instructions.
Scary. I think he needs a checkup.
I think we're in trouble.
Did we get paid in advance?
You got half in advance from him, and paid on delivery for the other stuff.
Okay.
For the Ewok pelts.
I got a real bad feeling about this. Have I had time to inspect and
Say that again. Have you had time to what?
have I had time to inspect and unpack and take care of my?
You have. It is exactly you. Yes. As soon as you guys left port and entered jump space, you went ahead and opened that up, and it's exactly what you thought it was.
Great, wonderful. All right, that's great to hear.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody has got to go knock on Mr. Cullen's stateroom door. I will.
Do you have any
All right, so-
medical skill?
Probably Doc needs to go. We have a doctor.
Let's both go.
Security and
I
doctor
have
sounds
security
good.
detail with.
Okay. I can knock and I can inquire and maybe Dr. Wagner can be standing by. Doctor, you might want to stand back from the door while I knock. Great.
No.
Captain, are you gonna leave the bridge to go with these guys?
Who'd you ask?
Captain Black.
Oh, no, I'll let them handle it.
Okay, so you're gonna stay on the bridge with Mr. Tamm.
Tam?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put you right back up on the bridge there. All right. So Coffin, you knock on the door.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. You hear nothing from inside. No response to the door knock, and no voices or anything from inside.
Okay. I say, Mr. Cullen, if you don't respond, I will be forced to open this door myself.
No response.
Okay. Is there a master key or hey, Jen?
You basically, you just asked Jen.
Jen, would you mind opening this, unlocking this door for me?
Sure.
Thank you, Jen. All right, and
The door pops open.
pops open. No, I just wanted it unlocked.
Oh, unlocked. Okay, yeah. So, so Jin comes back over and says the door is unlocked. I've released the bolts on the door.
Thank you. I definitely do not want anything popping open.
Okay, gotcha. Jin's like, sorry about that. Misinterpreted it.
Thank you. And Dr. Wagner, would you mind stepping back a bit, please? And I will enter the stateroom.
So, did you bring anything with you?
I did not. I don't
Okay.
want to overreact.
Gotcha.
But,
Okay.
I will note that my stateroom door is open and my package is not in view, but it's out where I can easily dash across and grab it.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. All right, so you what, like, do the manual override and then open up the door?
Yes, and Jen, lights, please.
The lights, as you're putting over the door, the lights in the stateroom come on, and you come into the stateroom and you can see a couple of things. One, you can see Mr. Quiching's baggage sort of scattered about. He's got his various kinds of like satchels of clothing and personal effects and things like that. It's a fair amount of stuff. The second thing you notice is Mr. Quiching, who is laying on the bed under the covers and appears to be sleeping.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do a scan of the room. I just look around, I look up, look down, and if there's nothing about to jump out at me, I say, Mr. Cullen, Mr. Cullen, Mr. Cullen.
No response from the guy on the bed. Doesn't even move.
Okay, but I walk over and I nudge him.
All right. So yeah, he moves a little bit then as you nudge him, but you get the decided feeling that you could feel like sort of his skin. He doesn't move. I mean, you sort of push him and he just sort of like sags over. He feels room temperature.
Okay, I pull back the cover. I check for a pulse.
Okay. You check for pulse. There is a no pulse. This looks like a dead person.
Okay. Dr. Wagner, would you come in, please? Dr. Wagner? Dr. Wagner?
Did Dr. Wagner leave?
That's you, Andy.
Dr. Howard, Dr. Shemp, Dr.
Dr. Wagner, you hear from inside the room.
Dr. Kildare.
Security Chief Doyle calls you. He's like, Dr. Wagner, could you come in here, please?
Yes, of course.
All right. So
And I'm slipping on my rubber gloves as I cross the transom.
snap on a couple of latexes.
Yep.
All right. So you see Doyle standing over the bed in the stateroom. The body, or what looks to be obviously that Quellen guy, is laying in the bed. He's not moving, and your initial thought is that looks like a dead person. Go ahead and give me a medical check. What your what your medical is +6.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and roll 2d6 +6.
Okay. Jeez.
9. Okay. Your initial thoughts are, without being able to examine the body in any detail, well, he's certainly not breathing, you'd have to examine the body further. He's certainly not breathing. You don't see any marks of violence on him, but he has the cold, ashen skin of a dead person. As you see Security Chief Doyle sort of move him a little bit. You can see that blood has pooled a little bit in the in the gravity areas. You suspect. At least your initial, just very quick look at this guy, you suspect he has been dead for 3 or 4 hours, maybe a little longer, depending on the conditions in the room.
Does it look like foul play?
You don't see any obvious wounds on the body. The guy doesn't have any obvious bruising. There's no stab or gunshots or anything like that.
Okay. All right. Well, look, if this guy is croaked, I'm gonna want to check out the cargo.
Do we want autopsy time before we break that sucker open?
Maybe I just, there's some connection between the cargo and this dead guy, and I got a feeling that this guy's dead for some kind of reason that we don't yet know. I got a feeling the answer lies inside that cargo container.
Well, so Dr. Wagner, you've got an auto doc. You could probably conduct a fairly thorough autopsy, and you've got a couple of days before you guys fall out of jump space. So, and begin preparing for your second jump to Greenport. I mean, if you wanted to conduct an autopsy, I mean, you've got an auto doc and you've got Jin's help. I mean, you probably could.
Okay. A little point of practice.
Just want to know first of all if it's transmittable, whatever killed him, right?
But also, are we liable for this guy's death? Meaning, if we show up at
Greenport system, yeah. That's where this guy was going.
If we show up and he's croaked, we say, well, we did our own autopsy, so we don't know. Are we gonna?
We chopped up your friend. Here's the pieces. Yeah.
I would say respectfully, sir. I would say that the question is, what's the cadaver market in Greenport right now?
You gonna sell him? You think you get a killer credit out of this? I'll trade you one dead guy for two tons of refined fuel.
Dead or not, he's coming up a little light on payment.
Well, you've got half, and you've got the cargo,
and his belongings,
and his his nightshirts, his washcloths.
Yeah.
He might have had some money on him.
His DOP kit.
Yeah.
Hey, gentlemen. Actually, I would like to. I kind of want to regard this whole scene as a biohazard situation because we don't know. I mean, is this space goodies or what? I don't know.
Ew, space goodies.
You have a case of space scabies.
Can we find out what killed him without doing an autopsy? Is there like?
Well, I mean, you could try asking him.
So seance,
doctor.
Right? Seance, got it.
Well, I mean, so to your question, Security Chief Doyle, about sealing this off, what Jin says is he can create an environment. The stater rooms are all separate environments. So from a ship standpoint, so he can create a positive pressure environment. It'll still be pressurized, so nothing will be hurt, but nothing will be able to flow outward into the common rooms. Basically, the pressure differential will keep everything up to medium-sized bacteria and viruses within the room.
Okay. Also, sorry.
No, that's right.
Just that I've already been exposed if there is a pathogen. So I'm going to search the room and Jin, would you please do affect the positive pressure? Let's keep whatever's in this room, please.
It's done. You do, and you do feel a little bit of popping in your ears when it happens. You too, Dr. Wagner, since you're in there as well. But yeah, so positive pressure is enabled, and anything of a bacterial or virological nature will be staying in here. Now, if you move the body out of this room, that's a different story.
Also, I mean, if Dr. Wagner or I leave the room, and if we are infected with something, I think we have grounds for, in fact, doing an autopsy, though.
Well, I mean, you've got an auto doc, and Dr. Wagner is a doctor. I mean, he'd probably do a variety of tests to check and see if anything is wrong with you guys. If you've picked up any bugs or anything like that, you guys would have those testing abilities on ship.
All right, okay. Well, I would like to search the room, if I may, and I'm gonna just let Mr. Poland chill out. And,
All right.
And Jim, would you please alert the captain that there's a dead guy in the stateroom that Mr. Poland has crossed over?
I will brief the captain on the entirety of the proceedings since you entered the room.
Thank you.
And Captain, you do get a neural lace monitoring. It's actually a squirt burst of data that just pops into your head, and basically you could basically see and hear everything that's gone on in that room. Essentially, Jin dropped a YouTube video of everything that's happened in there since they walked in.
I knew this was too good to be true.
He's, as far as you can tell, he's definitely dead looking. You've seen some dead people before, and he looks like a dead person. All right. So you said you're going to search his stuff. What before we get to that? What are the rest of you guys doing? So first, I want to hear from Dr. Wagner. Andrew, what's Dr. Wagner doing now? You're in this room. You see the dead guy on the thing. He looks pretty dead. You hear Doyle sort of tell Jin to alert the captain, and then you see Doyle start to sort of like flip through this guy's personal effects. What do you do?
I continue to look for any kind of vital signs, whether it's breath, because I recognize that it may not be a life form that we're familiar with. So I just want to be aware that there are vital signs that may not be obvious to others.
As far as you can tell, that Quellen is human. You're looking at him. You check, pulse at wrist and throat. You check his breath. You look at the eyes. You do see a little bit of petechial hemorrhaging in the sclera of the eyes, which typically you would guess would be, which is typical for like suffocation, but not limited to that. It certainly doesn't tell you anything. You do a quick cursory glance for injection marks, check his mouth for any sort of like drug or pill residue, and you don't see anything like that. The only indication, the only thing that you find out from a cursory medical glance is he is indeed dead, has been dead for several hours, and he has a small amount of petechial hemorrhaging, which typically is indicative of suffocation, but not necessarily definitively so.
Just to recap, there is no one on the ship besides the crew and this guy, right?
Correct. Yeah, he was the sole passenger.
Well, security chief, you have to find out which one of us did it.
It's murder on the Orient Express.
So I cut the Y incision and do an autopsy.
Right there in the stateroom?
Well, no, I take him over to
The
my
auto doc.
You're gonna drag him over. Okay. All right. So yeah, you were able to do that. And you're basically going to take him over to the doctor's office. That actually is over here, in this room right here. This is the med bay. So you get him ported over there and begin performing the autopsy. Give me it's going to take several hours. Give me tell you what. Give me a couple of medical rolls when you get a chance.
Okay, here comes the medical rolls.
All right. Tamm, Black, you guys are on the bridge. You are both, well, at least Captain Black, you are briefed on what's been going on. Man, that's another solid roll there, dude. What about you, Mr. Tamm? What are you doing?
I'm watching our trajectory and looking at ship porn, which is just different types of ships.
Okay. Ship porn. All right. Yeah, as far as you know, everything as far as, I mean, you've been constantly sort of monitoring the conditions of the jump, and the conditions of the space outside. Everything seems to be nominal. After initial little, not scary, but you're like, well, that's not right. And you got into jump space. Everything seems to be working perfectly. There's no, and Jin will tell you that the internal operations of both the jump drives, the fusion drive, and all of the life support mechanisms, everything's nominal. Everything's working exactly how it should. What about you, Weber? What are you doing? You gonna go check this out? You gonna go in there and get involved? Sounds like something you'd do.
If they need me, I'd be happy to go in there and look for some loose change in his clothes, or any receipts or things that might be useful to help us deliver said cargo.
Security chief Weber shows up at the door and sort of says, "Hey Doyle, is there anything I can do to help?" That kind of thing.
Hey buddy, sure. Look, I'm just searching this room for, I guess the term is clues. I don't know what that looks like. So if you want to look with me, I'm just going through all this stuff, and I would, you know what? I'm trying to find some sort of wallet or ID. I'm trying to find any information.
Yeah. I'll look for that and see if I could find anything to tell us about the cargo and or contacts we're supposed to. Do we know who we're supposed to deliver this to? I think he was the guy who only knew who this is supposed to be delivered to, right?
If I mean, you guys never asked, and he never mentioned a delivery person. Basically, you guys are just the only thing that he's really talked about from the point of view of the cargo itself is getting from point A to point B. That's it. And you were you had not been given any sort of indication that bringing the cargo to its end recipient was part of the deal.
Okay.
So you guys search the room, and you find, most of it is what you would consider to be personal effects. Some wristwatches, clothing, general travel shit. A couple of things catch your eye, though. First, he has a data pad, which you've seen him use in various kind of things, and Jin will tell you that the data pad is connected to shipboard network, so that he can tap into library files, things like that. So he's connected to the local network. What you also find are two other data pads still inside their security wrapping, basically unused data pads they were still secure wrapped. They were still in their original package.
Would I consider this the traveler equivalent of a burner phone, maybe?
Potentially, yeah. Certainly, it's odd. It's not unheard of for people to have an unused data pad, as a backup or something. What is odd is to have two unused ones in the security packaging, because most of the time when you get these data pads hooked up, they're here's the thing about data pads. They're sort of old tech. If you have neural lace, you don't need a data pad, right? You have all of this stuff right in your brain. You guys definitely got the impression that Quellen had lace installed, but you'd also seen him use the data pad, so you figured he was just probably, he's just probably one of those old guys that likes the old school. Having two additional unused data pads, that would be odd for anybody. It's especially odd for somebody who already has lace. The second odd thing you find is a small case about the size of a laptop case, which is locked. You can't seem to open it. It has some sort of security measures on it. What it looks to you, Doyle, is some sort of biometric security measures.
So I gotta go get his hand or his fingerprint.
It looks like it could be either fingerprint or fingerprint plus a code key.
All right.
And that is odd. This is the kind of tech you would see like governmental people carrying around. You know, when they're carrying like classified stuff. It's not something that everybody uses.
But let's assume.
Yeah, but I'll hand this over to the chief. What do you think, Chief?
I think, hey, Jen, you have tools to crack a keypad code?
Who are you talking to?
Jen.
Jin, the ship.
Jen.
Oh, Jin. We do have sorry. We do have some basic repair tools, you know, from the standpoint. That would probably be sufficient to open the case, although it would probably irrevocably damage it in the process. The case itself.
I don't care.
Don't we have a computer specialist, somebody?
You're guessing that it's Doyle thinks that it's fingerprint plus pin essentially.
We have a finger
Got fingers, yeah.
still attached.
You got his fingers. I mean, they're sitting in medbay right now.
Yeah.
All right, great. I really want to get inside this case, and something in this room is communicating with whatever is inside that cargo bay thing. That's what I think.
Okay. So yeah, do you want to go get the tools and crack this case?
I do.
All right. It takes you a little while. It's a pretty well-made case, and you really have to sort of bash on it. And Jin was right. Frankly, yeah, exactly. Frankly, you end up destroying the case. You use a small laser cutter to get through some of it, you know, to crack the hinges on it. At one point, it sort of locks back down, and you have to resaw it. You know, all this other stuff. But you do finally get it open. You find a couple of very interesting things. First, you find what look to be identity papers in 3 different names, none of them Quellen, but all with his photograph. And it's the same photograph. And in addition to those identity papers, you find small, what look about like telephone SIM cards, a little small chip. And it looks to be a combination of biomedia and silicon chip that you find. And each one of these little chips is sort of tucked into the paperwork for each of these packets of papers. You also find 10,000 credits worth of actual physical currency which no one uses anymore. In fact, in several places, the use of actual currency is illegal, bound up in individual 1,000 credit packets, 10 of these 1,000 credit packets, brand new bills. And they're issued in Greenprint. Greenprint still uses cash.
I see.
So think on that, and I'll be right back.
All right. Interesting. Okay. So we have 3 passports and 3 SIM cards. The SIM cards, each SIM card is associated with a passport.
And at $5,000 in cash.
10K, I think.
Don't forget about the cash.
You said 10, but I swear it was only 5. I looked twice.
Oh, now it's only 3. Quit counting the money.
I don't know. You know, I'm totally willing to blow in the 10K on whiskey and whores, but uh,
Oh, is that when Les came back?
Your security chief, everyone. Let's blow this illegal cash on whiskey and whores at Greenport.
okay.
The next thing he's going to recommend is like, hey, instead of that, let's buy space heroin and transport it to various high law level places. We'll make bank. No, so you find this case, and it has what looked to be valid identity documents, including what looked to be these chips, which you don't recognize, like these little biometric but the biochips. So in each one of these chips is sort of like connected. I mean, it's attached to the papers document, but the papers all have different names on them. They all have different citizenship. So when you look at identity papers, a lot of times they have, you're a citizen of a certain planetary system. These are all different systems. These were all issued by different systems. So one of them says that he's a citizen of UV Ceti. Another one says, Mirabilis system, and it gives, basically, job information and stuff like that. Essentially, yeah, I mean, they're all different and they're all different systems. None of them are Greenport.
Okay. True. All right. And nobody thought to ask who we are supposed to be in Greenport.
He never mentioned it. Basically, the job was get him from Mirabilis to Greenport, and after that, you're on your own. I mean, it was a delivery job. As long as you dock at Greenport, that was the job. I mean, he was going to arrange for everything else.
Okay, so we now face the prospect of awkwardly docking at Greenport and not knowing what to do with a corpse and B, a strange cargo kind of data with.
Yeah, a shielded cryogenic chamber.
All right.
And 17 tons of Ewok pelts. Don't forget that.
Well, I want to get the other 120K from somebody.
Okay.
I want to find out what's inside this cargo container. I don't like having a corpse on this ship without me knowing the
What's in it?
Got to be a corpse. I just got questions. I got concerns.
Okay.
Concerns.
All right. Well, you've got a couple of clues, right? So we don't know the results of the autopsy yet. You haven't looked at these identity papers and chips in any detail. You haven't examined his data pad. You also have you can examine the cryogenic chamber. Now, each of these things could provide various kinds of information.
Right. All right. Let's start with the what's right in front of us. Let's examine the identity papers, and
Okay.
I would also like the doctor to take a look at these biometric chips too, if when he's done with his autopsy. And I can't wait to hear the results of our impromptu autopsy.
Okay. All right. So you take these. So the identity papers I mentioned before are essentially standard Salamini system identity papers. Although realistically, not many people use papers anymore. It seems a bit archaic. Very much. I mean, it's reminiscent of the fact that he has the fact the guy has neural lace and a data pad, and two unused data pads. It's a little bit archaic, that this guy would do this. But when you bring the chips into medbay, Dr. Wagner sort of looks over and goes, oh, well, that makes a little bit more sense. Andrew, one of the things that Dr. Wagner discovered during the course of the autopsy was that this guy, covered by hair, had a dust plug in the back of his head. And you pull the dust plug off, and there is a chip feed, a biochip feeder inside there, meaning those little chips that you found go in the dude's head. What they do there, you don't know. Do you guys? Does anybody do? Do you have electronics or computers, Doyle?
Let's see. I have.
Or Dr. Wagner, do you have electronics or computers?
Yes, I do.
I got just 5 skills: rolling, carbine, electronics, gambling, and mechanical, all rated at 1. So I'm kind of.
Give me an electronics roll. And you as well, Andrew. Give me a roll based on either your electronics or computer roll, whichever one of those you have.
So I roll 2d6.
Yep, 2d6 plus your bonus. So in your case, you have electronics 1, you said?
Yes.
So you add 1 to it. 2d6.
Okay. 8.
8 plus 1 is 9. Let's hear from the doctor, the good doctor.
Got an 11.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, so you got an 11. All right, so yeah, you both agree that knowing what you guys know, so neural lace, when it comes into contact with local networks, a lot of part of the handshake, sort of the key lock handshake sequence that connects the neural lace with whatever local network it happens to be in contact with, includes identifying information: who you are, where you're from, your citizenship status, all this other stuff. And it's sort of like just a packet of data that squirts out that tells whatever network you're talking to, and it's usually an AI, that you are this person from this place, basically. What those chips do is, when inserted, they would interfere. What you guys suspect is that they would interfere with that key lock sequence, and whenever Quellen interacted with an AI network, if he had one of those chips in there, that chip would override his normal data burst, his normal identifying data burst with new information. You suspect that those chips basically confirm the information on the identity papers for any local network that his neural lace may come in contact with. Does that make sense?
I do.
It's basically the computer version of those identity papers. Basically, if he's going to pretend to be whoever these people are, he puts that chip in his head, covers it back up with the dust plug, and then whenever his neural lace interacts with an AI or a network, instead of saying I'm Quillen Q-Ting, he's like, I'm somebody else. And the data that it's sending the network agrees with his papers. Basically, it's fake IDs for your brain.
Gotcha. Okay. I see.
Also, that 11, Dr. Wagner, you have basically Y-sized this guy. You've done drug tests, you've done alcohol tests, you've checked stomach contents, you've checked you've done various scans with the Autodoc and stuff like that. And you are pretty sure this guy died of a small, but absolutely, basically he had a stroke. It looks like it happened when he was sleeping. It was strong enough to essentially kill him. If you were the coroner for any place, you would say this is natural causes. This guy died of natural causes. You look at his when you came to this first thing, you took a closer look at his his cardiac system and things like that. There was a fair amount of damage, of wear and tear on his cardiac system. He had not been engaging in what you would consider to be the appropriate health and medical procedures required of somebody of his age to ensure that they're Their their arteries and veins are all clean. It looks like that. Looks like he had a stroke. A purely preventable issue, but as far as you can tell, natural causes. Guy died of natural causes.
Fair enough.
You did not find any evidence of drugs, although a moderate amount of alcohol and differentiated UMB in his stomach and intestines, but no drugs and nothing that would, no obvious poisons that would be indicative of something of a provoked cerebral event.
Whoever Jesse's going to ask the doc, you did check for the xenomorph eggs, right?
He's like, that was my first check, considering Chief Doyle's concerns. Yeah, no
Your
xenophore.
mute doesn't work very well. So, can we harvest his neural lace and his plug? And
I mean, neural lace, I mean, you would pull it out of there, but I don't know that you could replant it in anything, not without a much more sophisticated medical setup than here. You could certainly remove it. Replanting it would be a whole different ordeal.
well, let's grab the son of a bitch.
All right. So you're gonna remove his neural lace and his plug from his skull. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
As
it
long
takes
as I know
a
he's
couple
dead.
hours. You want to be careful with it, but yeah, ultimately you were able to successfully remove it. You think?
I missed that. Why were we removing his neural lace?
Because it's worth
Body at this point.
Oh, got it. Okay. You sew it into the security chief here.
You gonna do anything else to the body? He asked innocently.
Well, not until everyone leaves.
Okay.
Not in public.
He's got to set the mood.
Everyone bring candles. No, I'm gonna harvest the.
Oh yeah.
All right. Sorry.
I think a yellow's oh yeah would be better for this.
Yeah, if he's dead.
Did we all get together and talk about this later on?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You guys are talking
Right
about
now,
it. So
I'm just piloting the ship, and no one's told me anything.
yeah, no, and the captain. I mean, I assume you guys are keeping the captain briefed, but yeah, nobody's told you guys anything. But yeah, ultimately, a couple hours later, you guys meet for a meal, and you'll be like, yeah, we found some interesting shit.
Guy's dead. Well,
So-
it sounds like we've got two choices, right? We could either just shoot this guy and his cargo into space and pretend none of this ever happened.
Okay, and just
In
keep
which
the
case
$100 grand.
Yeah, we give up half the money, but we have no further problems or complications. Or we try to locate his contacts and try to see if we can sell the.
So, if at some point we all have dinner together
Mm-hmm.
and you fill in Tamm and all this, did we find
Everybody would be brought into the know on this.
right? Did we find documentation as far as who his contact was or anything?
You guys haven't looked at his data pad.
Okay, I'll look.
So you've done an autopsy, but you haven't looked at the data pad?
I
We
will.
not, not only an autopsy, we did harvesting, some defiling. We had a lot of stuff done in a couple hours.
I'm sorry, did you say defiling?
Yeah, who is the chief filing officer?
Sorry.
Oh,
So it's funny, whenever I play Careless Whisper on any of these videos, I always get a copyright notice from YouTube when I post it. It's like, there's some copyrighted material in there. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's Careless Whisper.
Not planning to pay George Michael's estate, are you?
Well, no, I don't have advertising on my YouTube videos, so I'm not getting
You're not
paid
making
for them,
any
so
money.
I'm not making any money. It doesn't matter. It's free use at that point. That's the way I look at it. I'm
Well,
not,
it's
I'm not a
not free
copyright
use,
lawyer, but
you had to
that's
stop
what
it.
it feels like.
George Michael would have wanted it.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 10 minutes alone in the med lab?
All right, put the music back on.
I'm going to show you an interesting thing.
Hold on, sorry. An interesting thing. Hold on, I gotta tweet that too. Can I have 10 minutes alone in the med lab? I want to
With
show
the
you an
body.
interesting thing.
Hey, Doc, can I be excused?
As long as it's not a puppet show.
What are we having? TV dinner tonight? Is it beef stroganoff again tonight, or what are we having? I'm hungry after defiling corpses. To be clear, YouTube, there was no defilement of corpses from Weber Jiix.
Okay, just to be clear.
For future generations who will have some sort of, corpse Me Too moment as they search YouTube videos.
Corpse 2.
All right, so you go to the med lab. What do you do? I'm shuddering to think about it.
I'm not sure.
I offer morphine to anyone who wants it.
Best kind of ship's doctor in the world.
Will you excuse me for a bit?
What was it, Dr. Spaceman from 30 Rock?
Oh yeah.
Weber Jiix would be grumbling that he made a salad and nobody ate it again, and here he is all by himself at the table.
Doc, will you leave the room for a bit?
It's a Caesar.
Yeah, come on in, man.
No, he's asking.
I'm in there. I want you to leave.
Oh. All right. Well,
Sorry,
the
I wasn't
KY
directing this
is
the
in
first
the
time.
left-hand drawer.
He
second
can't. He
from the
can't.
top.
He can't absorb other creatures' souls with another person in the room.
Yeah, hey, man. Obviously meant something to you. If you want some time alone, I'll grant it.
Weber will cook up some fava beans for you. Maybe a
And
nice Chianti. Yeah.
Is there any sort of skill check you have to make for whatever sick shit you're doing in there?
Defilement 3.
I shudder to think.
Les?
Okay. All right. So. All right,
Wait. Does Doc leave? Doc, will you leave the room?
Please leave the room.
Sure, absolutely. I understand you want to be alone with your friend.
Ugh.
Doc, will you move your character out of the room?
So it's come to that. Okay, yes.
When it's dark.
Sure. I'm gonna go to my room. I want to be alone.
I need a shower. I'll be over here. Wait, where's the head? Where's the head? It's over here. I see it. I'll be over here.
So the doctor says he wanted to be alone. All right, sorry. All right. So, Dr. Wagner, you go back to your stateroom. Weber, you go back to the.
I'm hitting the
you're in the
showers.
head. Captain, you and Security Chief Doyle are in the common room, just sort of sitting around going, "What in the hell is up with Mehmet?" At which point, do you want to just let me just describe what you guys see. The next thing that you see is what looks like Quillen walking out of Med Lab into the common room.
Okay, so why did
Kill
you do
it!
that?
Kill it with fire! Kill it with fire!
Kill the dead guy!
I saw the thing. You're not fooling me.
Now, you said you were going to show us something cool, so I assume you in there.
Don, I'm handing it over to you. What do you want to do here?
You hear the guy's voice too, although something might be a little off with it.
Yeah, he's dead.
So, how much longer until we get to Greenport?
So you hear this
I don't know.
guy,
We'd have to ask the navigator.
whom you apparently just met. So yeah, you hear this guy, and it's basically Quellen, and it sounds like his voice. And basically, it's like he says, "So how long until we get to Greenport?" but the voice is a little weird. It's just not. It's almost a little bit. I guess maybe the word this is too strong a word, but it's almost like a little bit harmonic for a voice, for this guy's voice. It sounds like him, but there's like undertones in his voice now, like almost like chords, like he's speaking in chords. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's into bondage.
I'm sorry. Was it,
No, he's not. He's not into bondage.
Oh,
was it sorry, was it this other guy, autopsy?
Dr. Wagner not only autopsied the guy in a traditional autopsy fashion with the Y incision and all of his guts removed and weighed and analyzed, but he also cut the guy's skull open and removed both his neural lace and those little dust plug things.
Okay, does this person standing in front of us, does he have all of his parts?
All his guts are inside.
All his organs? Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't look like he's been cut and chopped into pieces. I'll tell you that.
What is he wearing here?
oh, that's nasty.
He's wearing Tamm's clothes.
Yeah, he's wearing
Tamm's clothes.
Tamm. Yeah, your pilot's clothing, the same clothing your pilot was wearing. So they switched clothes.
Wait, he's wearing Tamm's clothes?
Yeah, the same sort of clothing that Tamm, that Mehmet Tamm, the pilot, was your pilot was wearing. Don's character.
How'd you do that?
Where's Tamm? Where's Tamm?
I'm him. Sorry. And you hear this in Tamm's voice. I'm sorry, I didn't get the voice quite right. I didn't spend that much time with him to really learn his dialect.
Okay.
But this could be close enough to help us with the contacts once we get there.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Tamm, what's going on?
Yeah, you hear your pilot's voice coming out of the dead guy's body, or mouth, the throat, or whatever, head.
I've never really done this before, but I am able to change certain aspects of my appearance.
Okay.
And if we can figure out who this guy is supposed to meet, we might be able to close the deal with me impersonating the guy.
Okay, Tamm, you just scared the heck out of me.
I haven't done it quite like this before. I was just kind of curious as to how close I could get. You guys tell me, did it look like him?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
But holy hell, that startled me. And I don't like things that I don't understand. But okay, I see. Okay, Tamm, that's a neat trick.
Thanks. Yeah, I didn't plan on showing you guys this trick at all.
Well,
It might be useful.
it might be pretty darn useful. So Tamm,
I'm gonna go excuse myself into my cabin and take off this face.
okay, great. Well, what a neat trick.
Now, if you go back to the lab, the other guy still has his face. I didn't remove his face or anything. So
Yeah, he basically just sort of doppelgangered the guy.
Hi, Spider.
I
Every
come out
This
day-
with
is
my
worth
thing now.
Spider.
Every day in the common room now, it's like Tamm and whoever else he's practicing on. All right. So Tamm goes back to his stateroom to change back into Tamm. The rest of you are like, he basically says, look, I can like change my features to look like this guy. If we can figure out who he's supposed to deliver the cargo to, we might be able to get, the guy was willing to cough up 220 to you guys. Maybe you guys can get whatever He was getting paid for this.
On his data pad,
Mm-hmm.
if there's some communication with his voice on it, the more I get a chance to study that, the better I can sound like him also.
Okay. You guys haven't even tried to look at the data pad yet.
I want to do that.
Okay. So you would need to actually get into it. You probably need to do a computer check, and it's kind of a strong one, so it's going to be a 9 or better on that.
All right.
Does anybody have computers?
Yes.
Dr. Wagner does, right?
Yes.
I don't.
Anybody else?
I have brawling and carbine, so if it don't work, I'm gonna
You gonna shoot it?
shoot it.
Okay.
Dr. Wagner, if you do get into this, one of the first things we want to do is set up my fingerprint or voice print for security on it.
And who are you?
Well, right now I'm Tam, but I intend to be impersonating our guest.
All right.
Yeah, if he's gonna impersonate Quellen, then you would need him to set up so he can get into it. Yeah, you would need to reset
Right,
the
and my fingerprints
the
don't
biometrics.
change when I do this.
Right. You would need to reset the biometrics on the pad.
8.
8 is not gonna be enough to get in there. Does anybody else have computer skill or electronics?
I think a few of us had electronics. I do.
Anybody with electronics, you can take a crack at it. I'm sorry? What'd you say?
I roll 1 for each skill.
There we go, there we go, there we go.
Ooh, okay. Jet manages with Dr. Wagner's help, because Dr. Wagner was close. Captain Black kind of looks at the data pad and he's like, "Well, what about this?" Well, just they finally, do some Fonzie shit on it where you knock it against the table and quick thing, and you do get it open. And interestingly enough, this data pad is filled with information. A lot of it is various kinds of coded communiques. But there's a lot of, if you guys look through this guy's messages and the stuff they received, the video, several of them are video, a lot of them are audio, and they're encrypted audio, which you managed to break. Basically, there's a lot of discussions about we need you to pick up the package, and the package is always a name. Like, we need you to pick up the package. The package is, and then there'll be like a data squirt that accompanies it that is basically like personnel information, like a dossier on a person. And we need to pick you up, and basically the transmissions are, we need you to pick up the package at this point on this day and bring it to this point by this day. And then, there's recompense. And there's several dozen of these things going back a couple of standard years.
So does this mean it's possible that who's frozen in this is not necessarily a bad guy or something we want to be selling?
Give me who has Streetwise? I know that Weber does.
I
Does
do.
anybody else have Streetwise skill?
Not me. That's why I'm asking the question.
All right, Weber, give me a Streetwise roll.
One Streetwise roll coming up.
All right, let's see it.
Do you want me to add the plus to it or no? Just add it after.
Please. Yeah, I mean, or we can add it after. It doesn't matter.
So it's 2. Oh yeah, I'm still in the D100 second. 2d6. The D100s would have been impressive.
That would have been impressive. Well, depending on 11. All right, so Weber,
Nice.
you're looking at this thing, and it reminds you of something. And what you think is back. So you have skirted, as you guys all know, Weber has skirted the edges of extra legal activity pretty much his whole career. Diplomats, this is how they work. This is how they get things done. And Weber, you will remember at one point you were involved in a conversation, or you were present in a conversation where the people involved in the conversation were talking about essentially kidnapping a very talented scientist from a rival corporation and in a different star system. And basically, they were talking about this, and the idea was that there are certain people who are really good at this kind of thing of capturing and transporting people. The idea being, if you say this say there's this top scientist that works for a company, and he's from, I don't know, some star system. Another company based in another star system thinks that if they can grab this guy and bring him to the star system, they can put him to work for them and get all this, get all these benefits that this guy is coining. And once you have somebody in a star system, it's easy to keep them trapped in a star system. So
Right.
the idea is that there are these people who will go out and essentially kidnap scientists, businessmen, diplomats, whatever, transport them to a different star system, and essentially hand them over to a company or a government, and for a fee. And basically, as you're looking at all this guy looks like a fairly prolific professional kidnapper, at least based on what you remember from this one discussion that you had at this one point in your diplomatic career.
Yeah, technically in the diplomatic corps we called it Space Shanghai.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's like basically,
Shanghai,
we don't use a sock full of pennies anymore, but the effect is the same.
Yeah.
So you've got one live biological in cryosleep down in unpressurized hold. This could be your kidnapping victim.
So I guess there's a couple of ways we can play this here. We free him, tell him we didn't know. Let's say it plays out. We free him and say we didn't know he was a kidnapped victim, but now we realized it. We freed him to go about his business. We could drop him off somewhere for somebody else to discover and take no responsibility for said victim, or we can hear what he has to say and act accordingly after that. He, she.
Or option C.
Eject into space.
Well, all right. Option D.
Oh, wait. Was that not option C? Sorry. That's always option C.
Option D would be what Captain Black was talking about, which is basically try to figure out, and what Captain Black and Mr. Tamm were talking about, which is basically try to find out who this guy was supposed to deliver this person to, impersonate him, deliver the package, and take the fee.
Now is when we find out what kind of crew we really are.
Yeah, I'm curious as to if flexible is going to slide a little bit down the alignment chart. No, ultimately, you don't know where this guy's from. You don't even know if it's a guy. All you have is a cryopod down in unpressurized hold. You're still over a week out of Greenprint, although you suspect that the delivery was going to take place in Greenprint. You don't know anything yet.
Do we have time to make a detour somewhere and arm ourselves up before we get there? Or
you got about a day and a half more in jump before you fall out of jump. Now you're falling out of jump in deep space. Well, not deep space, but in uninhabited interstellar space. I guess you can send a message or. Once you drop out of jump, you can reset your jump any way you want. The problem is you can only get as far as jump 4. So you guys were headed for Greenprint. You guys had laid in
close to another one if we wanted to sidetrack something.
Yeah. You could jump to Remulac or Yiz or Sarpedon or 1, 2, 3, 4 Calgary even.
What are the green bases hexes represent again?
The olive green hexes are systems that are part of the Salamini cluster.
I like Salaminites.
Yeah, human. You've got this area over here, which is the front Kazinti war zone. And then you've got the remote area. So Greenpert is sort of like, in addition to be a smuggler's haven, it also is the gateway to what's called the Ursay. So these are an area, this is in a bit deeper space out here. Kukulkan is, that system is the home world of a group of aliens called the Ursay. They are bear-like aliens, but they are also, they're quite sophisticated. They're not scum. That's Leonis Majoris. This is Kukulkan. Basically, it's where these aliens hail from, and there's a fair amount of trade that goes through there. But you can see to get to those places. I mean, Greenpert to Kukulkan is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's X-boat work. The best you could do would probably be to go to whatever that is there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you might not be able to get out to the Urset in your ship. You would need a scout, some sort of scout ship. The scout ships are really the only ones that go beyond jump 4 or jump. I mean, you could find some far traders that are jump 5s, but they're pretty rare.
And we don't want to go out there.
Well, let's not forget we have the Ewok pelts to deliver.
Well, that's delivery at Greenpert, and those are. I mean, you're supposed to. I mean, you've got all the contact information for those. Like, you've got all the information about who's picking them up.
So we at least want to go on to Greenpert to drop that stuff on. Oh, yeah. All right. So, what does everybody think? What do you want to do?
I think we can crack the cryopod open without. Okay, well, I guess there's a wait. No, let me say it again. There were some countermeasures, right? That you said that could be activated if.
What Jin would tell you is passive countermeasures, right? So it's basically the cryopod itself is designed in such a way that it precludes in-depth scanning by a ship's AI. So basically, Jin would tell you is like, look, it's built in such a way that I can't really get in there and take a look at what's going on. But he did tell you some information. Basically, he said, look, you've got an internal, you've got a fair amount of temperature differentiation. You've got at least one live creature in there because I'm detecting life signs. You've also got a fairly large power core that's currently drawing off of the fusion reactor for nominal power. Beyond that, I can't really tell you what's in there. I mean, if you're looking for a name, I can't do it.
No, I said we can crack it open. I just want to know if we do end up selling it to the buyers, can they tell we were inside it?
Well, that's a good question.
Is that computer espionage?
Probably be an electronics check.
Yeah.
So first things first, though, if you're going to go down there and take a closer look at this cryopod, you either got to pressurize the hold, or you got to put on some spacesuits because it's unpressurized.
Right.
It's essentially vacuuming the hold right now.
Let's pressurize the hull and crack open this off.
So just want to make sure that I got this clear. The biologicals that you guys were so worried about, you're going to go ahead and pressurize the hold and crack the case on the cryo chamber.
Well, we could also send somebody out in an unpressurized hold in a suit, right? And
yeah, I mean, you've got suits.
I don't want to crack this case open, though, in an unpressurized area, because I think we're to kill that thing then. Whatever it is.
Oh, it's okay. I forgot. Unpressurized also means there's not okay. I got it.
No atmosphere.
Well, yeah, there's no atmosphere at all, and basically it's not hard vacuum of space, but it's soft vacuum. I mean, there's no pressure, there's no air.
Right.
Yeah.
It's only soft vacuum.
It's off. Well, it's not. It's the difference between open space and. I mean, you've got walls.
Mm-hmm.
You've got bulkheads. Here's the thing. If you guys are going to go open that thing up, and terminate the cryogenics, you're probably talking about at least a couple of days before this person comes out of cryo, and is in any position to like discuss their problems with you. So it'll probably be a couple of days. I mean, but if you also crack it open and you release them, it pretty much precludes you guys selling them to whoever,
right?
Whoever contracted. If
because we're not putting it back in cryo with the equipment we have.
No, once you turn that off, it's off for good.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I mean, if you want to take the money, it's best not to crack the case on the thing. Now you can go down there and do a couple of electronics check and see what you can see, but if you pull this person out of there, I doubt that they would willingly go. If they are indeed a kidnapping victim, they're not going to willingly go back into cryo, so you can sell them to somebody.
What do you think, guys? Me personally, when it was a anonymous cargo, I didn't have any problem with it. Now that we know what it might be, I have a little problem with it.
Me too. Second.
What else
So-
can we get from the data pads as far as this particular cargo?
There's no names or anything like that. You do have, you have the data pad that's indicative of that at some point you're supposed to meet at such and such a place at such and such a time in Greenport, which is like 8 or 9 days from now. The latest dossier package is from a man from Mirabola's system who is basically, for lack of a better term, it's a little bit of a jumble, but basically they're a materials researcher, and the documentation it says that they work for the Spofulum Family Corporation in Mirabolis, doing various sort of material science kind of things. Basically, what you think is this is a valuable engineer that this guy stole in Mirabolis, packed up and is packing up to Greenport. Knowing Greenport, he's probably going to be transshipped to somewhere else from Greenport. You doubt that he's staying in Greenport.
Yeah. My thought is there's somebody trapped in this cryopod in a living hell. We gotta liberate her or him.
Well, he's I don't know if it's a living hell. I mean, he's in cryosleep essentially, which is pretty standard kind of stuff.
That's actually the cheap way to travel in this universe.
Yeah, if you're going a long way. I mean, cryo technology is pretty solid. Frankly, you could if you didn't interfere necessarily with the cryonics, you'd probably be fine.
But your previous point is the main point. If we head down this path, we are not selling it, so we're giving up that side of the money.
Right.
Yeah. The name on the dossier, by the way, is Gideon Robinson.
We're most likely returning Gideon at that point. Not getting any money from it, but doing the right thing. Is that what this crew wants to do?
I'm all for gray. You're working in the gray, but I'm not working in the black if I don't have to.
Yeah. Second.
Any dissenting opinions? He says, looking at his navigator.
Sorry, I was stepping away for laundry.
I say we take the money.
Are you okay with foregoing the funds? Because this comes out of all our shares.
Okay, so
Might
we
still be able to
forego
use your
our funds
disguise.
and wake this guy up. Are we continuing the green pernt for the other part of the cargo?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want to leave
Oh yeah,
that
you have
undelivered.
17 tons of illegal Ewok pelts in the basement too.
Hey, what I will say, I am fully up for scamming whoever is thinking they're going to get this cargo to get paid fully. If we want to go down that route,
Yes. Yes.
that's the area that I excel in.
That could be.
And you know what's fun? You guys have a spare body.
Oh, why? Thank you, AI.
Okay, but this spare body can't be put in cryo.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it
You don't
could
have
be
the
at
ability
the.
to put someone in cryo.
We don't have the ability, but the port of Greenport probably does, right?
So we're going to land in Greenport, find somebody who will help us get this dead body in cryo freeze fast enough where we can then drop off the rendezvous point.
I don't know.
this is going to be great.
That is a possibility.
Okay, here's what I propose. When we drop out of drive here,
Yep,
um,
it's about a day and a half away. Is that interstitial point midway?
now whether we go 1 hex or 4, it takes a week.
Yes. Now your jump drive can do anything between 1, 2, 3, and 4. Max is 4. The time it takes is the same.
Right.
That's why and frankly that's the core reason why Emix likes to specialize in medium and long range freight haulers. He likes higher jump ships because they can go farther. They can service places far afield. If you're in a jump one heavy freighter,
Right.
you're not going very far.
Okay,
so
Les.
you're gonna be trying. Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me about Calgary, Forlorn.
Forlorn is Kazinti territory. It is war zone. But that sector is held. That system is held currently by the Kazinti. Calgary is a Salamini cluster thing, high law level. If you go to Calgary, you're gonna see a lot of Terran and Salamini cluster military because they're clustering. Basically, the Terran government, the Salamini government is sending military might to like Midway and Hephaestus and Calgary to make sure that the Kazinti front war doesn't spread.
Okay, tell me about Remulac.
Remulac is a high law level, high tech level. It's a big system. It's a remote system from the from the seats of government and stuff like that, but it is influential because it's close to a lot of places. Frankly, because it's close to Greenpernt and it's close to the war zone, a lot of cargo and material goes through Remulac. But
I believe I've been to Remulac too several times in my career.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it's
Of those three places, guys, Remulac, Calgary, or even Forlorn, where can we find someone who will help us put our dead friend in cryo?
Any chance this is another chance to roll the dice and play I know a guy?
Theoretically, yeah. Somebody want to raise their hand?
Okay, wait. Before we do that, let me spell out what I'm thinking.
All right, hold on. I'm going to reload my drink. I want to hear this. No, go ahead and do it. I'll be right back.
So we come on a jump here, right?
Uh-huh.
Remulac, Calgary, and Forlorn are all within one jump of this location, and also within one jump of Greenperth. Okay?
Right.
So we come out a jump, we take a detour, get our dead body friend put in cryo. From there, we go to Greenperth. I act as the contact guy. Try to close the deal, give him the cryogenic guy. We leave as soon as possible.
You're going to have to repeat that for Les now.
Yeah, well, I can review the video later.
So regardless where we go, either Remulac, Calgary, or Forlorn, we find a guy who will help us re-cryo the person. And actually, I don't want to use the dead body. I'd rather have the cryo thing active but empty. Because if I'm
Jim will tell you that even he was able to, even with the passive countermeasures on the cryo unit, he was able to tell that there was a actual person in there. So basic scans will let you know that.
Yeah, maybe we can throw a dead body with a live flounder on it or something.
As soon as we make the exchange, I want to go into hiding, act as if Quillen disappeared. I will drop that disguise, and he's forever lost as far as I'm concerned at that point.
Well, I mean, we can. Several people might know a guy, but I do know that the one contact I mentioned earlier, Palmer, also works out of Remulac space, and if he happened to be around, he might be able to. If he's not the guy, he might know the guy who can get what we need done. He's more of an arms specialist.
So we jump over Remulac.
He is in acquisitions. So
which one was the military base, Les?
Remulac and Calgary are both high law, high.
Calgary, so Calgary, Hephaestus, and Midway, those are going to have a lot of military on. They're not specifically military bases. They're high-tech, populated systems, but they're close to the Kazintia front war zone, so there's a lot of Salamini military there.
So maybe
just in
some
and out of system because they're
my
trying
old
to
Navy
basically
buddies my old Navy buddies might be in that area.
could easily be.
So I
There's
might.
a lot of naval there. But I mean, is there somebody that you think is going to help you? This is sort of a weird favor to ask somebody.
Well, it was a weird group I was in the Navy, wasn't
That's
it?
a good point. It's a good point. Yeah.
I'm thinking somebody else who might have been semi disgracefully kicked out of the Navy for the same reasons I was, who's now working in as an engineer somewhere on one of those bases that just.
Do you know a guy? Are you enacting a know a guy? Do you know a guy?
Yeah, I think I know a guy. I think
He
I know
knows a
who
guy.
owes me
All right.
his life,
So-
as a matter of fact. I think I saved his life, so I think he's going to be willing to help us.
Captain Black knows a guy from the Navy. Where is he located?
Calgary.
Calgary. All right. So he's in Calgary system, which let me just check the star system here.
It's within 4.
quick. Calgary is L674. Okay. So you know a guy in Calgary. You got a name?
we don't like to share names, but we'll just call him Chopper.
Chopper. Okay. So ex-Navy, you knew. Okay. All right. So we're going to need some more details on that guy, but you think he's going to be in a position to help you with this. So any details on what he's going to help you with?
He's kind of a mechanic engineer kind of guy, but he also knows how to use cryo equipment.
All right. Cryo expert. All right. In Calgary. So, all right. So Calgary then. All right. So, what do you guys, this is sort of a revelation from the captain. He's like, I know a guy in Calgary, ex-Navy man, knows cryo like the back of his hand. He might be able to help us. Weber, you're like, well, I think, Palmer, I thought I'm pretty sure is in Dismal, but he's got a place in Remulak's system that he might be at, or we can maybe meet him at. I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can go.
What does the crew think?
Whatever you guys want.
I think we have a couple reasons to go to Remulak, and then nothing else compelling I'm hearing so far. So we could
You know what
stop
source
there
is I can
first.
offer the plan, so whatever you guys decide.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hearing.
If Palmer's in Remulak, we take care of 2 birds with 1 stone, right?
Yeah, hey man, no guarantees, guys. But I know he's got a place there. He's got what do you call them? Those the asteroids you harvest into a little home for yourself. You do little mining robots, you bore it up.
So he's got a little place in the asteroid belt and Remulak system. Okay.
Now, one challenge of getting to see Palmer this early is we don't really have our money yet because we didn't get the money for the pelts yet.
Yeah, we definitely need to get to. Oh yeah, well, do we need them? Maybe we pool our resources, or you know what? We can see what Palmer's got, and then make the deal and whatchamacallit, and come back. There's a lot of ifs. Yeah, there's a lot of ifs. No green.
Well, so here's the other thing. If you guys drop out of space in 1734 and you hightail for Calgary, jump 4 to Calgary, it's going to take you a week. You're supposed, according to this guy's data pad, you're supposed to meet the buyers in Greenport in 9 days. Now, when you drop out of space, you can send messages to anybody and see what you can put together. But if you go to Calgary, you won't be able to meet the guys in Greenport on the schedule, on the original schedule.
Right.
So something to keep in mind. I'm not saying it's a deal
somehow
breaker.
give them a message saying, hey, there was a problem with the drive. We had to make a detour. We'll be a week late.
Can do. Calgary is 4 away from Greenport. So yeah, you can do a single jump from Calgary.
It'll be a single jump.
Why are we going to Calgary?
Captain Black knows a guy.
Oh, in Calgary. Okay, my bad. I thought they were both in Remulak. My bad.
And keep in mind, all we gain from that is we can put the dead body into cryo and take the other body out.
Yeah, basically you're hoping, I'm assuming that you're going to try and you're going to put Quellen in cryo, release whoever, this Gideon guy who's in there, who works for Spofulam in Mirabilis, release him, and then have your guy in Calgary sort of gin up the electronics to make it look like there's a live body in there. Then go to Greenport, deliver the package, take the money, and skedaddle out of there.
Quickly.
Is that the plan? I just want to make sure I've got that right.
Well, that's the proposal, yeah. Now, keep in mind, how much do you think we're going to get? I guess we're just taking a guess that we're going to get a lot of money for delivery.
Well, the Quellen was going to pay you $220 to get from Mirabilis to Greenport just so he could deliver. So it's got to be more than that.
Yeah.
And he's already given you $110.
Is it worth the risk?
So if you're talking, I mean, if he's going to pay you $220 to just so he can get to the point where he can deliver the package, I mean, how much would you be willing to spend on logistics to get something there? I mean,
He's got to be getting paid close to $1 million.
It could be as much as a mega credit, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Okay, now, so if we get a mega credit and give this buyer a dead body, remember, they're going to not be happy with us.
True.
But they won't know anything other than Quinn delivered it.
Yeah, I mean, if
Quinn's traveled on.
Can our AI help us maybe disguise that was the gin and tonic that was the delivery device or delivery?
So Gin can't. I mean, when you guys enter the system, I mean, he's not in a position to. Well, he's not in a position right now to lie about who he is.
And at this point, if we were going to do something like that, it should have happened before the guy booked passage on us, because we've got a paper trail before now.
Yeah.
Well, and there is a message to what you assume is the buyer saying leaving Mirabilis.
TNT or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, yeah, he's like basically I've got passage. I'm on this ship. A tentative arrival date is at this point. So.
And walking to light also knew it was us he flew on. So yeah.
Yeah, walking. So yeah, but I mean, you're pretty far away from Mirabilis system right now. I mean, you could always go back.
But
I mean, you guys
if they
have
get angry
contacts
enough,
with
they'd be
Mirabilis
able to follow this trail.
Well, theoretically.
We told Walking the Light, yeah, we'll give this guy a ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you told him.
Well, that's enough, though.
Well, I mean, so Walking to Light works for Spofulam. So if it comes to pass that Spofulam discovers that this guy Quellen stole their material science guy, they're going to obviously share that with Walking to Light. Walking to Light's going to say, well, he got on book passage to Greenport out of Mirabilis at this point on the gin and tonic, which means that the Spofulam people are going to know that it was the gin and tonic on which guy's out. Now, they're not necessarily going to hold you guys responsible, because remember, Walking to Light came to you guys and said, hey, can you take this guy? He's interested in booking passage out system. I mean, as far as you guys are concerned, you're just giving a guy a ride and share, with his cargo. You guys aren't necessarily.
And as far as Walking the Light goes, it's just this guy with some cargo. But the guy buying this for 1 million credits knows what he was paying for and can do some backtracking.
And would be angry.
One could conceivably think that.
Wake the person up, bring them back, and hope for a reward from their core company.
That's a possibility.
But we still got to, at some point in time, deliver these damn pelts.
Yeah, that is to Greenport. Yeah, so that's another thing. If you go back to Mirabilis, it could be that Walking to Light has figured out what that 17 tons of Ewok pelts are. And, he's like, hey, as much as I like you guys for bringing back our material science guy, we do have this small question about these endangered species pelts that you guys, the 17 tons of which you guys moved out system.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think we talk to the person that we know where to take them to. It may not be Mirabilis. We'll take them back to whatever company they're from.
If the dossier is at all accurate, and it's that same guy, he was based in Mirabilis system.
Okay.
He worked for Spofulam in Mirabilis, building them specialty materials. As far as you can tell.
Okay, if we go to Calgary can we get rid of the illegal material there? And then,
I mean,
Not a
theoretically,
military base.
potentially, but I mean, you've got buyers waiting for you in Greenprint.
in Greenprint,
Buyers,
Yeah,
we don't
the
want to
deal
be
was all
angry.
set. I mean, again, you guys are just transport. It's like being a truck driver, right? The truck driver doesn't necessarily care what's in the back as long as it's not going to get him in trouble. And when he arrives at the place where he's supposed to deliver it, there are a bunch of other people that talk about what it is.
right?
You guys are just providing services from here to there.
Okay, what if we do this? What if we go to Greenprint as scheduled? I get off the ship as Quillen with a cargo container, go somewhere, and then Quillen disappears. We sell the illegal material we got, the 18 tons, whatever illegal material we got, and then just get out of there. We don't try to sell the cryo freezer to the original target, but the original buyer does see Quillen leave the G&T. He's on Greenprint somewhere and then disappears.
I like that.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to leave the cryo chamber there?
Empty.
Well, the empty cryo chamber. So Quillen gets off the ship with the cryo chamber. Later on, they find an empty cryo chamber, and Quillen's nowhere to be found.
I got it.
They can search for Quillen forever.
We frame
Oh,
a
how
dead
about
guy.
Quillen's dead body is found?
I
Well,
don't want to. I would like to leave Quillen
With a lot of autopsy marks on it.
Well, sure. Somebody did some body harvesting.
How about we get like a space flounder or something that's alive to put in cryo freeze?
It does have passive countermeasures. I mean, Jin will tell you that he's not sure a flounder would work because it's too small. Any AI, and what he tell you is any AI worth their salt would be able to determine that there was not a person in there.
Right.
That it would be something else. So if you guys wanted to fake them out, you'd have to figure out something.
Oh, no, we're not going to fake anybody out.
Okay.
We're just going to let them see Quillen exit the ship so they don't blame us anymore.
Okay.
Then an empty cryo chamber is found and no Quillen, but
no Quillen.
it's not us. We delivered our package.
So Quillen double-crossed him.
So what are you going to do with Gideon?
Who's
Bring
getting
him back to Mirabilis and give him back to Spofuland?
Oh, yes.
Gideon's the materials. He's the guy that you think
Got it,
is
I
in
remember
cryo
that, yeah.
right now.
Gideon's the cryo guy. We get him out of cryo. We hear his story. We figure out what we're doing with him after.
During this week jump.
Or during this week of travel. Right.
Okay. So like I said, if you guys crack him out of cryo today, it's going to be a couple of days before he's in any kind of.
But we got a week.
We got a week travel to get to Greenprint.
Yep.
And at this point, we're not doing a rendezvous out to Calgary now.
Hey, are we going long? Are we going long tonight?
Oh, geez, what time is it? Oh, it's after 11. Holy cow! Okay.
Let's stop. We'll do some emailing and we'll talk.
All right.
Perfect.
Awesome, guys. This has been very cool. I hope you guys had fun. I did.
Good.
Yay!
And we'll.
We have a solid plan.
See you in a
Bye,
couple
everybody.
weeks. Hey, those of you in B team, it's going to be B team on New Year's Eve. So
Okay.
I think we'll see some people retiring.
Uh-oh.
Is
We're running long.
that your euphemism for dying a horrible death?
No, actual retirement, I think.
Okay.
So we'll see. But I'm going to have plenty prepped because we're going to go long. We may go as long as 5 hours. So I have plenty to do. All right. Thanks, you guys. This is awesome.
Nice.
Eric, it's
Good night.
after 11, so we're gonna bail.
Yeah.
All right. So
See you later.
see you guys
Bye.
soon. Thanks
Bye.
again.
Thank you. Good night.